Hey, oh, this is backwards. Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. It's Sunday Comics, and that, for the time being, until we get tired of it or think of something better, we're going to be covering these early X-Men. Excuse me. X-Men up to like 150 is just such a glorious golden age of X-Men comics that I'm just happy to revisit these. I'm still looking for my X-Men number 94. I can't. I put it on the side to make a video of it, and there's a stack of comics that are on the side someplace. Now, the question is, where is that side? When you have geez, this is driving me nuts. I took down this camera to wipe the lens because it's one of those cameras that if you touch it, the light goes on and everything. So it looked a little smeary, so I cleared it. Okay, so as normal, I filibuster a bit. Oh, we got Torchbearer in here already. Hey, how you doing? How's the Thug? He's not the Thug. The Thug is his comic. How you doing? And as always, Heroic Tales 2 is live on Fund My Comic. We're gonna break through the $5,000 barrier. I know we're gonna do it, and that means I get to unlock a next card. The next card being the Subterranean, the villain that the Patriarch is going to deal with. And I got a bunch of cards prepped up and ready to go. I got a couple of cards prepped up and ready to go for the next couple of campaigns. The only problem is every issue has more and more characters. So if you want these cards, we got it back. I'm thinking of just making card packs of characters that didn't get stretch gold, and the only way to get them is to buy them. We'll see about that. More to come. I have a feeling that Patriarch #1 is going to be a pretty big campaign for me. So we'll see what's going on. All right, let's address the chat. And like I said, I filibuster a little bit till we get a bunch of people. Hey, you doing, Zach Tan? I got my Sunday blessing. That's good. That is good. Hey, we got Genuine Comics. We got Dave Brink over here. Dave Brink has inspired his comic Perfect 10, which is a wonderful comic. Marcus is at the Heroes Con, so I don't think I'm going to have a moderator today. I should make Zach Tan a moderator. Zach Tan, would you like to be a moderator? Let's see if I can figure out how to do it while I talk. So I have to open up YouTube on my phone and make somebody a moderator. I think that's how it works. But I can't do two things at once. I'm an old fart. So anyway, as I was saying, it's more important for me to talk than to make somebody a moderator. So Zach, just let me know if you'd like to be a moderator, and I'll do it, and I'll figure it out. All right. So as I was saying, Dave Brink makes this wonderful comic called Perfect 10. It is the story of a synthetic woman. She's the 10th iteration, the 10th creation, the 10th attempt to make this, and they finally perfected. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. It's so good. It's good concept, good superhero name. So she is 10. The funny thing is, and I know this sounds funny, but I actually proved it to Dave, is years ago in my role-playing game, I had a character called 10, and she was perfect. The reason being she was a perfect 10. It was inspired by the Bo Derek movie 10, and everybody was like, she's perfect. So I made a female android character who was perfectly created. She had cornrows and everything like that because it was inspired by that Bo Derek movie 10, and she was just crushing everybody. She had the perfect stats. Everything about her was perfect. So she and then because she was perfect, she turned from being an evil servant to being a hero and ally of the player characters. So I was going through my role-playing sheets, and I found her loose leaf paper that I wrote the character sheet, and the paper is all yellowed and everything. So I took a picture and I sent it to Dave. And Dave was like, incredible. It just shows you how in sync Dave and I are. But Dave is more in sync because his comics are so good. So good. He's one of my inspirations. Just go check out. Just go to Fund My Comic, check out Perfect 10, or go to genuinecomics.com and check out. I'd put a link in there, but I can't do it. I feel a bit weird because issue 6 will be our last. I won't have to continue the series, but I've been advised to do so instead of starting something. Okay, this is an interesting. So I skipped over Zach Tan, but I'll get back to you, Zach Tan, because I'm continuing this conversation, and I can only hold one thought in my noggin at a time. So I feel a bit weird after issue 6 because that'll be our last issue of Perfect 10. I won't have to continue the series after that, but I've been advised to do so instead of starting something new. Now, I'm in the same boat. Patriarch was supposed to have one story in Heroic Tales, and then each issue I was going to introduce a new character. The Patriarch story in issue number 1 was half the comic, not by design, but by the fact that I'm a rookie writer, and that was all I could do. I anything else I added to that story just seemed like fluff. It just seemed like spinning the wheel. So, like Mike Barrett always says, make it as succinct and focused as possible. So that's what I did with the introduction of the Patriarch. I had so much in it that I just removed. So then I was like, I got to do another story because nobody's going to buy this comic. Is too sparse. Now, in hindsight, I don't think it would have been. I could have made it, for the price. I could have kept it $10, just had a Patriarch story with the letters page and the fake ads. But I threw in the suit story because I thought, oh, it's crowdfunding. It has to be a 40-page book. Now that kind of, I like that because now I could do 2 stories in each comic. So I wrote the suit story. Ron Mosicki wrote it. He drew it so fast. What a professional guy he is. And Ron is working in a store. He owns a store, so he spent all his time doing that. He's got kids and everything like that. So he draws once in a blue moon. And I sent him. Well, I didn't send him a script. We talked about a script idea, and I told him, if you want to do it, do it. No pressure. Whatever you feel like. There's no schedule. So and he was like, that I could handle. So but that's besides the point. So get back to this. So everybody liked the Patriarch, and they're like, no, you have to put the Patriarch in every issue. So then I put all right, Patriarch will be the first story in every comic, and the second one will be another character. And then I'm like, Patriarch is he could carry his own book. So he evolved to his own book. So it's kind of the same thing. I just wanted to have an introduction, every issue focused on a different character. But when the fans want something, you'd be silly not to listen to the fans. The fans are responding to Perfect 10, Dave's comic. I think it's fair to say that it's his most popular comic, his most popular character. I mean, it's a big, sexy girl. What's not to like about it? So Dave, I understand what you're saying now. Give the fans what they want, kind of thing. And maybe alternate, or do you have enough resources where you could float 2 books at the same time? See, I'm probably going to stagger. And what I'm doing is I'm front loading. I want Renzo to always be the Patriarch artist, but Renzo likes to draw a whole bunch of different things. So I'm going to try to give him the Patriarch. I have up to 5 issues plotted out, in various forms of script. And then Heroic Tales, I have up to 4 issues plotted out. But then I also started going to other people. I got Luke Stone. I got Ron Mosicki, I just mentioned. I got Stippling Vaughn and DC Miller. And I'm in talks with Fabrizio Aiello and maybe Brian Bao. Brian is super busy. So I got stories written for all of these people that I could insert. So Renzo will always do one story of Heroic Tales because he wants to do a bunch of different characters. And there's a couple of characters that Renzo has to draw. They're just Renzo characters. There's no other way to describe it. So anyway, get back to this wonderful comment. Is Dave, I understand what you're saying. You consider it a blessing that people responded and like your character so much that they want more of that character. And it is a business. So there you go. This that's what I did. I didn't have nearly the success that Dave had with Perfect 10, but I hear you. Now, what started this conversation is that Dave inspired me. I have a female sexy character that I'm going to debut, hopefully in Heroic Tales 4, because Heroic Tales 3 is going to continue the story of Mary Sue, and then I'm going to introduce the character of the Raven. That has to happen. That has to happen so that Patriarch number 2 makes sense. Then so issue 4, I want to introduce this female character that I have a feeling may be my 10, my breakout character, my popular character, the character people want to see more of, and I owe it all to Dave. So that story will be dedicated to Dave Brink. I'm writing a story right now for Fabrizio Aiello. I don't even want to talk about it yet, but it's dedicated to my wife because it's based on her role-playing character. She made 2 role-playing characters in my superhero game, so that'll be inspired by her. So I'm giving more information than is needed. But thank you, Dave. Dave, please, I implore you to check out Genuine Comics. They are so good. So let's get back to Zach Can. Sounds interesting. I wonder if I can do it from my phone or if it needs a computer. I have no idea. Her arch enemy could be Extreme 11. Extreme 11. 96 is the one I don't have. Okay. Don't come over here. I can't invite. Yeah, I was going to invite you over, Yang, but now I fear for my issue number 96. I'm the Pro B. Good morning, John. I once created a character in Champions role-playing game probably 30 years ago. What was the character's name? Oh, okay. It's continuing. The character looked exactly like Hush does today. Has that happened to you? More times than I like. The story that I'm writing, that Brian Bow has first right of refusal, I'll put it that way. I sent him a sketch of my character. And just so everybody knows, this is how I draw. So that's okay. And it's funny because every time I sketch out a character, I put it in a folder because at some point I want to do the art of Heroic Tales, and that will include my sketches and then how the real artist actually drew them. So I sent him, that's not the character, by the way. That was just the one that was on hand. And he told me that it was just like a video game character. And I'm like, oh my God. And I literally know nothing about video games. He laughed. He goes, how do you not know this? It's the most popular video game character. I was like, I don't play video games. So yes, that has happened to me more often than you'd think. Me and Dave, every time, every time, I'm not even joking. Every time he puts out a comic, I'm like, there's one less character I could use. There's one less character I could use. To the point, like one of my stories was already in production called The Sleeper Agent, and he has a character called the Sleep Agent or Sleeper. So I actually asked Dave if would he mind? And the character's so different. His character's a super sexy, beautiful woman, and her power set is completely different. Mine is more based on Randolph Carter from H.P. Lovecraft, and also John Carter, Warlord of Mars. In my world, they're all descendants from this dreaming family. John Carter dreams that he goes to Mars. Randolph Carter dreams that he goes into the dreamland. And then Jack Carter, my sleeper agent. You'll see. Luke Stone is drawing it right now. So yes, this happens quite a bit. Hail, John's Longbuck. Sent you a DM when you're done with the show. You just sent me one now? Or did you send me one and I completely ignored it? Because I've been getting a lot of DMs lately. Something happened recently and people are sending me messages. And believe it or not, I still work. Yesterday I worked overtime on my job, and I have a wife and 7 brothers, sisters. So I don't spend all day at the internet. So if you sent me a message and I didn't respond to it, I apologize. Usually Sunday is the day I do all my accounting. So I do writing. I check my DMs. I do John's Longbox stuff. So I apologize. It's a long one. It's long one. Sorry for that. My space needs dudes like good. Oh, great. Okay, I thought you were reprimanding me. Cool. Good. I'll check it out. I try to make a point to respond to every DM, unless it's lately I've been getting 3D models. And I'm like, dude, I got 3D models. I got a great guy. I don't need your 3D model service. So, and the other one is investment tips. Oh my God, am I getting investment tips? One of 600 people in the chat. So every time I get a DM, I'm like, oh man. Hey, Eric the Guapo, Eric the Handsome. How's it going? I think you can make someone a mod for your desktop, John. Click on the name in the chat. Yeah, but I'm on StreamYard. I'm on StreamYard. Let's see. If I could do this without causing insanity. So if I go here and I go here, This is going to cause. Okay, so let's go to it, Dave. I'm going to make you a moderator. So Dave Brink is now a moderator, and Zach Tan. Anybody else want to be a moderator? And as moderator, there. I'm doing it live. You know what? Eric the Guapo, you're a moderator. I trust you. And Yang, guess what? You're a moderator. There we go. If I'm going to do it good. Do it big. Do it big or go home. So there you go. You guys are all moderators because Marcus is at Heroes Con, or he's probably driving home from Heroes Con. Okay, I don't know if did my screen just show as I did that. So there we go. Thank you for the idea. Monomakis, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, just now. Okay, I'll check it out after the show. I'm not going to start reading DMs while it's dead air, but I had a dream of a character months ago. I wrote down the dream. She had the powers to open up portals anywhere and could pull out weapons, travel. She was a hitman. Oh, so I take it she's a bad guy. That is an awesome power. That is an awesome power. I have a woman character. In issue 3 of the Patriarch, you're going to see the super team. Patriarch is on a super team. He just doesn't talk. Think of the Patriarch or Hero Selfar as his solo comic like Thor. He's also a member of a team, the Avengers. You know, not really the Avengers. But so you'll see that issue number 3 will be him dealing with the super team, and the teleporter is on the super team, female teleporter. And I don't want to give things away because then Dave Brink will come out with a character with the same name. Only kid. Dave Brink is faster than me. Okay, there you go. Genuine Comics says hello. Then when I looked for printing rights, found out there was a movie already called Gone Girl. That was her name, Gone Girl, which is why I'm keeping the names of my characters secret until they actually pop up. Greetings, Ben Sabar, voice actor, not construction, but I do mean, okay, you work. I get what you're saying. Yang's been getting 3D models too. Yeah, all of a sudden it must be just like some. I bet you it's just like some studios, just like flood. Open YouTube. I did it. I figured it out. I looked and then yes, I realized I am. Good morning, Sunday Morning Comics. Other side of the fence. I kind of like that avatar. Unlimited power. Yes, I am the moderator now. Well, it's good to see that it worked. Dave Thomas, good comics from yes. Good morning, folks. How you doing? That's a new face. Good to see you. How's Dave Thomas? How are you? So is the Patriarch like the antisocial guy on the team, like that one guy in the office who never talks to anyone? No, the Patriarch is actually very friendly. He's he haven't seen it yet, but he has like a dad sense of humor. Like he's supposed to be like the ultimate father. He's a good guy. He does what he has to do. Like he does his duty. But just think of the Patriarch. Just think of Science City as his house. And think of his super team, which is based in New York, as you got to go and help the neighbors kind of thing. You know what I mean? So he does it. He doesn't want to. He recognizes the importance of it. And he goes. And when called upon, he does his duty. But, Science City got problems. So he's, but he's not antisocial. He's actually a friendly, happy guy. The first Patriarch number 1 starts out with him hanging out in a record store, buying records, talking to his college buddy. Like he and he's kind of embarrassed that he's wearing a superhero costume. You know what I mean? He's like a regular guy. Make a character called the Moderator. What would he do? John, do you have any plans for going to cons? Yes, I would love to go to cons. I had plans to go to Heroes Con this year. I was going to go to Marcus's house, and then me and Marcus were going to go. But I used up all my time off breaking my stupid neck. I was out of work for 6 months. So I used all my time off, all my vacation time, all my stored saved time. And then I was given, can't go back to work. So I don't have any time off. I like borrowed time off from the future, if you understand how it works. So I don't have any time off unless I get laid off from work. I couldn't go, and quite frankly, I used up a lot of my savings that I'm trying to replenish right now. So that's why I've been working overtimes on Saturdays. So you know, I got a good job. I can't turn down the overtime. And I'm on a good job. It's not like I'm breaking my back in the pit at the airport. Now I'm like, we'll put it. It doesn't matter. I'm putting in these specialized light fixtures, so it's a lot of overhead like this. But I put my headphones on, listen to music. So, geez, time and a half to do that. Hey, Brian Bow. I was just talking about you, Brian. I sent you the first draft for the story we were talking about. You have first right of refusal, no pressure. Let me know. Curious. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But I'm a crazy person. So once I started on something, I have to finish it. So I was going to switch. Brian was like, I don't know if I could fit this in the schedule. He's so busy, and I was like, because Brian and I'd love to work with Brian. He said he'd like to work with me. So I was like, all right. So I came up with this. Well, I dreamt a story a couple of weeks ago. I talked about it. So last night I wrote out after thinking, that's how I do things. I think of a story, I think about it, I plot it through. And then last night, what I wrote was completely different than what I dreamt. But whatever. We'll see. He seems like a Superman type character. My character, the patriarch, yes, he is. Oh, the moderator seems like a superhero. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, so let's get back to this. Do I have plans of going to cons? Yes, I do. I would love to go to cons. I didn't go to any cons last year because I didn't have a comic book. What am I going to get a table and be like, guys, I promised to make a comic book. How you doing? So now I actually have issue 1 of the patriarch. I got them in my spinner rack. I got a box full of back issues. So I could do that. But I can't because I don't have any time off. So issue 2 comes out. I'm hoping issue 2 will start shipping at the end of August. That's my goal, which will make my first year of Longbox Comics 80 pages of new material. That's not bad. That ain't nothing to sneeze at. And then I have 2 issues. It'll be 7 covers altogether. I have 5 variants. So I think I'll have enough material to cover a desk and look impressive and show people that I'm serious, things like that. So I would like to start doing cons. I think I'm going to start with a local con here on Long Island called Eternicon. That'll probably be my first convention. Ease into it small, and see how it goes. JP Farm, good morning. What is your take on fanfic? Most of my writing is he, Neb. I don't understand that. He, Neb, Fint. I have an original fantasy world, but most of my stuff is not. What do I think about fanfic? It's good. It's a writing exercise, and if you like it and it's enjoyable, yeah, why not? My wife, when we first got married, she was writing fanfic about Dudley from Harry Potter. She always had like a soft spot for Dudley, and she was writing fanfic about him as an adult, like hanging out with his brother. Like he misses his brother. He's repairing the relationship, and like, it was a sweet story. I like stuff. Now, like this porn fanfic, I got no use for. And to be honest, I think a lot of indie comics is fanfic. Like what I'm talking about is like Sherlock Holmes, Vampire Hunter, and Mickey Mouse, Murderer, and Popeye the Cannibal, that kind of stuff. It's just fanfic. It's kind of gross. I don't like that stuff. But regular, genuine, because you love the character, and you're exploring something, yeah, that's fine. I got no problem with that. You can't sell it, so as an exercise or just a story that you want to get out, I say go the Dave Brink route and make your own characters and make your own stories. But fine. You could do that even when there's something already out there with the name. You could. I don't understand the question. You could do that even when there's something out there. Yeah. I assume you mean like Dave Brink has Sleeper Agent. Now I'm gonna have I think he has Dreamweaver, the sleeper, but like I guess he can make a Batman because it's public, whatever. But if you have a character with the same name, if it's not like a iconic character, it doesn't bother me too much because you know, it's just make it original, just make it different enough, because Marvel and DC have overlap with a lot of the same names, you know. Depends on what it is. A movie called that is a different matter, but there's no comic book character called that. Oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah. Like if there's a popular comic book character called Nightcrawler, I'm not going to make a comic book called Nightcrawler. But there's also a movie called The Nightcrawler. You know what I mean? But like I could see, to me, like to use the name Colossus. Colossus is a mythological name, so I don't think you could copyright that. You know, it existed before Marvel. So like I could see like making a character called Colossus in your book. To me, he wouldn't be a main character but Colossus would literally be a gigantic metal robot like Talos from Greek mythology. You know, it would have to be different than the character. Otherwise, you're just ripping off the character. Good morning, Henry Thune. Good morning. How are you today? Oh, I was not aware of it. It worked like that. As long as the medium is different, you could use it. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV. So just be careful. Just be careful. Good morning, John and chat pals. How you doing? How you doing? Are you getting a lot of research material? And more people, don't give away my secrets. What I learned in the tunnels stays in the tunnels. Okay, Yang? For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, on Twitter, I've been putting pictures of when I worked in the tunnel. I don't work in the tunnels anymore. I'm working in a hospital above ground. But every once in a while, I do have to descend into the tunnels to run wire and things like that. You know, but these tunnels, that even when I go into the tunnels in the hospital, are nowhere near. Like you could see, I'm in the depths below Manhattan. But what happens down there, I can't tell you. Can't tell you. The moderator would not be a hero, but a hero support member. He would give tips and information to different heroes based on his intelligence work. He would have his fingers and everything. That's a good concept. That's a good concept. Oh, I meant to say He-Man fan fiction. Oh, great. Great. You don't get any blowback from that, from what is it, Hasbro that owns He-Man? But He-Man is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I didn't know this, but I just recently learned that He-Man was created to make Conan toys for children, and then something happened and they switched it over and made He-Man. So, you know, with a couple of twists, make up your own character and have your own stories. But I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying what I would do. I would rather write my own characters, own these stories, you know, but they're inspired by it. Like the Patriarch is inspired by Superman. A couple of people were trying to bust my chops about it. I'm like, dude, your characters are inspired by this. I can list all the inspirations. You know, he brought up the Samaritan from Astro City. I'm like, yeah, the Samaritan is inspired by Superman. You know what I mean? You're gonna bust my chops and have a Superman homage character to poke fun of a Superman? Grow up. Good morning, Brian. Oh my God, you broke your neck, man. Oh, you didn't know? That must have been terrible. I had a double knee replacement. Yeah, July 17th last year, I was driving home from work. I don't normally drive to work. I take the train, but this particular day, I was a buddy of mine gave me an air conditioner, and that buddy, Martin Lipke, I rewarded him by making him the child that gets pulled into the well, and he doesn't fall into a well, but he falls into a sinkhole in issue 1 of the Patriarch. A lot of the names of characters that, you know, aren't major characters are based on people in real life. Like Boss Moxie's name is Jerry Duggan, and that was my foreman. So I just like doing, like, the security guard in issue 1 of the Patriarch. His name's Spider Gonzalez, and he's the guy that I see in the hospital every morning. Just a freaking cool guy. I told him all the story details, and he was like, he knows what's going to happen to Spider Gonzalez in the future. So he approved of everything. But anyway, I was driving home and I passed out. I was working on the roof of the airport. It was a Q deck, which means it was a 10 roof. So I'm at the airport, climb up 5 stories on a ladder with my tool bag, 106 degrees on top of the Q deck, because we had thermometers and everything like that. Because when it reaches a certain temperature, you got to get out of there. So it was 106 while we were working, super humid. All I drank was coffee, and I left at lunchtime, and I didn't eat lunch because I was like, I'm going to eat lunch, and I passed out right into a tree. broke my neck. And no, it didn't hurt. The impact of the car hurt, but the broken neck never hurt. Never hurt. Just put me out of work. It hurt financially, but it didn't hurt me. Hit the thumbs up. Hey, we got RJ Williams over here. It says hit the thumbs up. Help the channel. Thank you. Make sure you have a banner. Yes. When I go to the con, yes. If I got to talk to Vaughn Coleman. It's funny. Me and Vaughn Coleman are buddies, and it's funny because he's such a young kid. I feel like his grandfather. So I bust his chops, he busts my chops, and then people on Twitter don't realize that we're busting each other's chops, and a couple of people were getting mad at me. I was like, one guy blocked me. He goes, "You're an asshole. You know, you're just jealous of Vaughn." I'm like, "Can somebody explain the joke to this guy?" You know, I need a con in Minnesota. Yeah, I made you a mod. Hey, John and Dave, 58 Underground. How you doing? Good to see you. When did that happen? It happened just now. Happened just now. And that just happened. I'm working on a Transformers fanfic comic. Cool. I got to be Mike Barron's caddy at the Rippaverse table in Denver last year. Only comic I've ever been to. Mike is awesome. It's good practice. The challenge to know the characters and then write them in character. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Fanfic. One fan fiction I actually like was Jack the Ripper Vampire Hunter. I forgot who made that, but it was a gun story. Okay, so I'll stop writing my story where the patriarch holds out spankings like a stern but loving daddy. Nothing. I can't stop you. As long as you don't sell it, I can't stop you. I'm working on Patriarch Goes Transgender. Same thing. I can't stop you. Just you can't sell it. But I know where you live, Pete. I know where you live. Both DC and Marvel have a Captain Marvel character. Absolutely. Good example. They both have there's a lot of overlapping characters. I'm trying to think of them offhand, but they have a lot of characters with the same name. Same with Orion. Marvel has an Orion, but he was Greek mythology. Absolutely. I would make Batman where he's a baseball bat with arms and legs. He wears a monocle and is a foreman at a construction site. He doesn't fight crime. He just mismanages union dues. I met that guy. That's my brother. He works for the mob. Mattel owns He-Man. Okay, what did I say? Hasbro? Geez, the comments are coming so fast. Last week, I actually had to stop reading comments. We're going a half hour. I didn't even open the comic yet. The mole men are mostly isolationists, while the lizardmen actively try to infiltrate society. This guy, you know too much. I just turned it to Joe Biden. What are you going to do for the 1-year anniversary of your action? I suggest not a long drive while sleepy. I wasn't sleepy. It was like a low blood sugar thing, and it happened really quick. All of a sudden, I didn't feel good. All of a sudden, I'm like, I don't feel good, and I'm like, am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Things, and so I got off the highway. Like all of a sudden, I didn't feel good. I'm like, this isn't right. I don't feel right. So I got off the highway, and I was going to pull into the gas station to either get something to eat, get something to drink, take a break, whatever. And then I passed out. That's how quick it was. And luckily, because there was a red light in front of me, so luckily I passed out and went to the left, went off the road right into a tree. Yep. Here's an interesting idea. What if Colossus Rule is not just a giant statue, but a robot that's been wandering the earth for centuries? Why are you stealing my ideas? Why? Go give it to Dave Brink. Thanks a lot. I gotta do stuff. If I'm not back, yeah, go do stuff. Open that comic, sir. Yes. Last comment. I like to bring public domain characters to the universe, but many are so silly. I think I'll change them too much. Yeah. I don't want any public domain characters. I don't want anybody else's characters. I wouldn't mind doing a team up, like Patriarch and Perfect 10 would be great. Or Mary Sue in Perfect 10, she would be better because she has more cosmic level powers, so because there has to be like an explanation of, because my universe is all thought out. I'm not saying Dave's isn't, but there's no room for Dave's universe in my universe, if that makes sense. Like there's no mechanism for these universes. So I would have to come up with a way to explain that. This would drive me crazy. Like, if you got Patriarch, if you got Heroic Tales #1, you already saw Horace H. Hoover in a billboard. I'm trying to establish that a lot of my favorite comic book characters are comic books and cartoons in the Patriarch's world. Because there are cameos of non long box characters in issue number 1. The tree was okay. And here's the funny thing. Every once in a while, I drive down the service road of the highway to try to find the spot. And I can't remember where it is, but that kind of makes sense given that it was an impact. And I probably hurt my noggin. Would you make them darker, gritty, or just turn them into horror mascots? I understand. Yes. I personally don't want most people in my universe. Okay, I get that. Pete, thanks for the hint. I will not move to Arizona. Okay, so here we go. This is the all-new, all-different X-Men number 96. So this is the 3rd appearance of the new X-Men. And I've been thinking about this a lot. Okay, first appearance of the new X-Men was Giant Size X-Men. I covered that on my channel. They fought an irradiated, mutated island. It's not a mutant. I know they call it a mutant, and this causes problems because Cerebro is designed to pick up, or Cerebro is designed to pick up mutants, but instead it picked up an island that had been changed due to atomic radiation tests. So either that was a flaw, or because now does not imply that, because a mutant, as we generally come to understand the term in the Marvel universe, is a human being born with powers that set it apart from everybody else. So Nightcrawler's parents didn't look like that, and they had this demonic looking child. Colossus's parents don't have the ability to turn into organic steel. Wolverine's parents didn't have the ability to regenerate. The claws are bionic that were added later on. But you get my point? And we do know that Chris Summers, his Scott Summers' father, doesn't have laser beam powers because he, Cyclops has the eye beams, and why can't I think of his brother? What is Havoc's first name? But he has blasts all over his body. And Aurora, her parents don't have storm abilities. They're all different than their parents, and they're human. Krakoa was never human, so how could he have been a mutant? I'm following my logic here. So the first appearance of the X-Men, they didn't fight a mutant. They fought a mutate. They fought a mutated being, and it was a conglomeration of all the creatures on the island. You know what I mean? So unless they retconned it that there was a human on that island that was born with powers, which may be, because I haven't read any of the Krakoa era of the X-Men. Krakoa is not a mutant at this point. Issue 94, they deal with Count Nefaria, a Magia boss, taking over NORAD and threatening the world with nuclear weapon stockpiles. Not a mutant. Count Nefaria is not even a super villain. He's a villain because he doesn't have superpowers at this point. Issue 96, you'll see. So what am I saying? And then 95 is the continuation of Nefaria. I forgot about that. So we have 1, 2, 3. So this is the 4th appearance. I said 3rd, but this is the 4th appearance of the new X-Men. They have not fought any mutants yet. I'm trying to bolster my claim that the X-Men wasn't Mutant of the Week for a long time. And it wasn't just like, my mutant rights. This was just superhero adventure stories at this point. Okay? The greatest golden age of the X-Men, they weren't weepy, let's fight mutants on my mutant rights, blah, 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 blah. I'm different, I'm special. They were superhero team X. Okay? So let's get to these. At this point, I'll do the comments, the comic. And let's keep the comments to the comic, and then we'll have a discussion. I love the discussions. One of my favorite things to do. So now we're focusing on the comic. So as an island, he can't be a mutant, but a mutant could turn into an island. Yes, so that's what I'm saying. Unless Krakoa was a human who had powers on that island, he's not a mutant. So can Cerebro now detect Spider-Man or the Hulk or the Fantastic Four? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's my smug face. Mm-hmm. Well, the ecosystem of an island mutated into a consciousness and allowed the ground of the island itself to be alive. Yes, but it was never a human. Well, the animals, the plants, were all mutated into a collective consciousness. Yes, but it was not born from a human with different powers. It's funny how they used all new, all different. Yeah, because the original X-Men were on the verge of cancellation for a long time. Maybe one creature on the island mutated. Yes, and unless that creature that mutated was a human, it's not a mutant as we understand the term. A mutant called Archipelago could turn into an island. Dave is always thinking. Dave is always thinking. Open up that newsprint. Often caused by radiation. Alex Summers. That's thank Alex Summers. Anything could be a mutant. Yes. JDA. Oh, is this John Delarose? Good morning. How you doing, John? I like that avatar. There's a mutant brood member later on. There is some questions about the same question about the Hulk. Absolutely, I agree with you. Despite his ability to turn into an island, Archie's main problem is choosing between a blonde and a raven. Oh, Archie Comics. I told you I'm stupid. No man is an island. There you go. So are you talking about the Thunder Agent? No man. There's a mutant Atlantean. Yeah, Namor is a mutant. He's not like either one of his parents, which is kind of bizarre because now he has a cousin with the same exact powers. But that's funny. So wouldn't you? And I hate to give ideas to Marvel, but this is a story. If you could get a human and an Atlantean and they breed a super being like Namor, and then you get a different human and a different Atlantean, and they breed a superhuman like Namora, and then I think Namoria is a clone of Namora. As a supervillain, wouldn't you capture Atlanteans and capture some humans and force them to breed and raise an army of submariners? Marvel, I'm over here. I'm sitting right here in this chair. JDA, I'm doing great. It's a morning to take in some AI art. I don't want to. I don't like AI art. I don't, sorry, Jay. I'm glad you're John. I'm glad you're it, but I don't know. I like the human art. Namor McKenzie, yes. Off to church. Okay, there he goes. Pray for me. Pray for me. I think anything with a natural mutation is a mutant. Yes. There's no other way to say it shorter than yes. I always thought that was funny that Namor is Scottish, look like he's Asian, is from Atlantis. Well, he's American from Brooklyn. So there's a Scot that moved to America, lived because Namor McKenzie, for the longest time, I thought Mackenzie, the father, whose name, the first name is I always thought he was Canadian for a long time, but he's from Brooklyn, of Scottish descent, But yeah, the idea isn't far off from what the Nazis did. Yes, like, can you think of what a great Marvel story? Horrible is this just genetic eugenicist plot? Like, wouldn't Mr. Sinister be capturing Atlanteans and force breeding or stealing the eggs from humans and the stuffity stuff from Atlanteans or vice versa, and making test tube Namors? I'm a rock. I'm an island. A rock feels no pain, and an island never cries. You're right. Does the name Namor mean anything? It's Roman backwards, because Atlantis in Marvel Comics was a Roman. Imperius Rex is Latin. They worship Neptune. They had columns. So I don't know why it was backwards Roman, which is why in Rob Liefeld he had the Namor character named Roman. But which is why it drives me nuts that in the Marvel universe they made him Aztec or Mayan or whatever, Mesoamerican. We'll say Mesoamerican. But just make up a new character. Just make up a new character. Weapon X definitely stole Atlanteans. Did he? I never understood. Yeah, that's why I say Submariner. Namor is his name, like Phil Moskowitz. You know what I mean? Like Peter Parker. So I always call him by his superhero name, the Submariner. And I do have a Submariner homage. If you like it, it's an homage. If you don't like it, it's a ripoff. So let's open up the comic. Dave, Eric DeGuapo is now a moderator, okay? So I got to listen to him. He's got power. He's got authority. So here we go. Here is the Uncanny X-Men. I love these. I love these. I want to write one for the Patriarch, but I can't do it until after the Origin comes out. So maybe starting in Patriarch number 2, I'll put in one of these. And maybe in the second appearance of Mary Sue, I'll put in one of these. You know what I mean? There's Cyclops, Storm, Banshee, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Colossus, Children of the Atom, students of Charles Xavier, mutants, feared and hated by the world that they have sworn to protect. These are the strangest heroes of all. These are the X-Men. So here we go. We got Chris Claremont. So this is the first appearance of Chris Claremont as writing the X-Men before it was Len Wein. Dave Cockrum is the artist. Sam Grenier, inker. Dave Hunt, letterer. Phil Rachelson, colorist. Marv Wolfman, editor. With a welcome plotting assistant from boisterous Bill Mantlo. Bill Mantlo later on to me went to glory writing Rom and the Micronauts, 2 comics that had no right to be as good as they are. So here we go. We got Night of the Demon. So we got Cyclops wandering alone in the autumn upstate New York, Westchester County. What is he doing? He's mourning because he was the leader, and under his leadership, an X-Men died for the first time. Cyclops, at this point, is my favorite X-Men. He's a good guy. He's the stoic leader. He's bestowed upon with horrific power that he needs to keep on a tight leash at all times. So everybody calls him a stick in the mud. I just love all of this stuff. It just he last issue, if you remember, he was willing to die so that his teammates could survive. He was just like, I'm going to impale myself on this tree, and then Banshee saved him at the last minute. He was and is a leader. The character assassinated of Cyclops is one of the worst crimes in Marvel history. You know, it's just unbelievable. And he is, and it's no coincidence that it happens right after he becomes a father, which was the first domino to fall in the creation of the Patriarch. Like, comic books have been assassinating fathers figures, metaphorically speaking, for decades. Because I'm not going to get into politics right now. But look at this. We got a little chubby little squirrel over here. Cyclops. Can you hear that music from the Lou Ferrigno Hulk? You know, just sadness and gloom. So let's again. I will now address the comments. Turn the page. Address the comments. That's going forward. Like I said, Namor has cousins Bob and Doug. Yeah, Mackenzie. I love Bob and Doug. They have a character that is Aztec. Yeah, call him something else. Call him something else. It is clearly something else. He is not Namor. That is not Shang-Chi, but whatever. Shouldn't Atlantis be Greek? The legend predates Rome. I think, yeah, Plato created Atlantis. You're right. So it could have been a Greek colony that was taken over by Rome. It wouldn't be the first time it happened. I got no problems with Atlantis being Roman because Rome conquered Greece. Atlantis would be, but who knows the timeline in Marvel? Yeah. When was Atlantis founded? Damn it, RJ. Now you got me thinking, and that never amounts to anything good when you get me thinking. Krieg isn't marketable as Namor. Kurg sounds pretty evil. I like tough Cyclops. Me too. Kurg the Scourge. I like War Battle Cyclops. I'm liking that I see some Cyclops support over here. And I love the idea. He's got one eye. With one eye, you're focused on stuff. You're laser focused on. It is just such a great name. And, you know, Cyclops. He's focused. He's got this deadly vision. You know what I mean? He needs to stay. It's such a good name. The summary banner kind of debunks the idea that the X-Men weren't political. According to that, they've always had to deal with their image. Yeah. In the world they have sworn to protect. Yeah. There's always from issue 1, they were dealing with like, we don't like mutants, but the idea that it's just mutant comic book, every issue is mutant. No, the best X-Men stories are the X-Men stories that have nothing to do with mutants. Krakoa, I already established that's not a regular mutant story. The Brood going off into space with Empress Leandra. You know, Dark Phoenix is dealing with the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club, they might as well have been, you know, the masters of evil. Like the fact that they were mutants wasn't really the story. The fact that they were evil, manipulating Epstein's, and that's what Hellfire Club is all about. Days of Future Past, that is a mutant story, and that is a brilliant story. That's what I thought. B, I like Cyclops' costume better. Yeah, me too. I like this costume. I like this guy. Changeling died while disguised. Yep, he sacrificed himself to save the team. Night of the Demon is the title of a great 1950s monster movie. And there we go. That is the authority on monster movies, Brian Bao. Brian Bao has Wolf and Batsy. You could get at brianbao.net. Is that your website? brianbao.net. If we have any moderators, could throw in the link to brianbao.net, pick up his comics. All right, so let's turn the page. So what do we have here? We have the classic. Let's bring the reader up to speed, because this is the classic. Every issue is somebody's first appearance, first issue with the comic. So Cyclops it just happened last issue. Now at this point, X-Men was bi-monthly. So it means it comes out every other month. Why? Because the X-Men aren't popular yet. Does it say bi-monthly schedule? Copyright published bi-monthly. Can you see this? Bi-monthly right there. Published bi-monthly. There's the proof in the pudding. See? Okay. That is the proof, and all of this is the pudding. So there you go. X-Men wasn't that popular yet. So we got why did Thunderbird die? Because of his own arrogance, his own hubris, his own pride. He wouldn't listen. He got pissed off. Nefaria insulted him, and he's going to show everybody he's arrogant. And he kept on fighting, and Nefaria blew up. And of course, Nefaria survived. But as far as I know, Thunderbird is the only superhero who stayed dead. The original Captain Marvel stayed dead, but they have to keep him dead because Carol Danvers is now the poop. So as far as I know, there you go. Put in the chat any other superhero characters that died and stayed dead. I know they brought James Proudstar back, but I love Thunderbird. Great name, great character, great power set. I really like the idea of this arrogant Apache warrior mutant hero. I really did like Thunderbird, and by the time I heard of the X-Men, he was already dead, so he was like legendary for me. I like it. So here he dies, and what is Cyclops doing now? In a modern day Marvel comic, Cyclops would be in the kitchen stirring a cup of coffee in a bathrobe, with a hipster haircut, no muscles, crying. But what is he doing now? He's muscular. He's, stoic. He's upset and he's pissed, but he's in his costume. And what does he do? He perfect Cyclops. I'm a leader. I didn't kill Thunderbird. Thunderbird's actions killed himself. Cyclops was trying to get him to do the right thing, but Thunderbird disobeyed direct orders. Thunderbird's not a bad guy. Thunderbird is just a headstrong, arrogant, as much as I consider myself an individualist, when you're part of a team and you agree to be part of a team, like I have a foreman. There's 4 guys on my team. The foreman tells me to do something. If I disagree with it, I voice my concerns, but he's the foreman. He's the boss. Ultimately, I volunteered to be on that team. I got to do what the team says. You got to be a team player if you're on a team. If you can't handle that, do not be on a team. I almost said something I shouldn't say. But anyway, so Cyclops now, even though he's not responsible, he feels responsible because he was the boss. So he goes out of the X-Men mansion, out into the woods where nobody can see him, and he vents because he can't let the other team members see him in a moment of weakness. He doesn't have that luxury. He's not Wolverine. Wolverine, he wears his heart on his sleeve at this point. He's angry. He freaking freaks out. If he's happy, if he likes chicks, he goes out and hits on a chick. Cyclops has to be the in control boss, because they are literally fighting creatures that can destroy the world. He has all the responsibilities of the world on the show. So he goes out, he's getting pissed, and he lashes out. Boom, boom, And unfortunately, his lashing out causes the problem. So, it's kind of on the nose that Cyclops, whenever he lets out his emotions, there's problems. Well, this is just like a physical comic book reminder that Cyclops, you need to keep your poop together, because this is what happens. You got to keep your demons inside, literally, as you will see later on. So there's this little obelisk that they referenced a few times in X-Men history that I just love. So this obelisk gets destroyed. Cyclops is just raging full on over here. And now he's like, oh my Lord, what have I done? He can't afford to do this. Boom. He can't afford to do this stuff. Literally, the one time he lets loose, you'll see the consequences of his actions. Let's go to the comments, and then I'll turn the page. RJ Williams, I can see it now. Oh my God, here comes the Spurg. That was Rogue's line. So Cyclops, so Changeling was the first X-Men to die, but Cyclops was, Cyclops was the field leader at that point. Xavier was the overall general commander. Cyclops didn't even know Changeling. For those of you who don't know, Charles Xavier dies in the X-Men. And Stan Lee and he wanted the X-Men to go to the next level. He wanted them to level up. They could never, in his mind, they couldn't be taken seriously while their teacher was still calling the shots. So he killed off Xavier. Fans didn't like it. So Xavier, or Roy Thomas, I forget who it was, retroactively, this is a retcon, created the character called Changeling. Changeling was a mutant whose power was to assume other forms. Unbeknownst to the X-Men, Changeling took the form of Charles Xavier and was leading the X-Men. So Changeling died, not Xavier, which begs the question, where was Charles Xavier? So Xavier, they made up that he was in space with this alien Leandra. And then all this, because of that retcon, so much good stuff came out of it. All because they decided killing off Xavier was a mistake. Ron Mosicki reposted this stream. Hey, Ron is here. Ron is the artist for the suit in Heroic Tales #1. Ron already jumped the gun, and he made a wonderful cover for Patriarch #2. So I already got a variant cover because Renzo's the artist. Renzo gets the cover A. Ron made a cover B of Patriarch #2, and we don't even have the covers for Patriarch #1 yet, but I got a cover for Patriarch #2. So good. And that cover was so good, I asked Ron if he wouldn't mind doing the story at his own pace. Kurg the Spurg, the original Mr. Terrific, is dead. That good one. Thunderbird was cool, but a jerk like Sunfire. Yep. Did American Evil and Thunderbird ever team up? No. Thunderbird only had 3 appearances. Giant Size X-Men 1, X-Men 94, and X-Men 95, and that was it. I can't believe the pristine condition of that comic. Yeah, this comic is in such good condition. Feral Lad, the original Mr. Terrific, Karate Kid, Blockade Boy, Plant Lad, and Weight Wizard. Last 3 in the Stalag Space Story Adventure Comics. Invisible Kid and Feral Lad. Yep, they're all dead. Weight Wizard, what are his powers? Probably like gravity control. He could, from ounces to ton. There you go. Eric the Guapo. How far can you jump if you weighed only an ounce? True. You could probably jump really far because unless your muscular changes, you know what I mean? So you still have the same muscular ability and you weigh less. Hey, Brittany says hi. Brittany is the honcho behind Mabel Bakes. She makes wonderful cookies. She sent me cookies. I'm talking a box of cookies, chocolate chips, and all these does when Heroic Tales #1 successfully funded. I just like, my wife's like, there's a box outside, and she got mad at me. She's like, "What are you extorting cookies from these people?" I was like, I didn't know anything about it. She got mad. She was like, you got to return these. This isn't proper. What do you think? You're some mafioso don? Oh, this is a good cookie. This is a good cookie. And then when I got to the car accident, they sent another box of cookies, and it was funny because right on top, the first cookie said, "Glad you didn't die." So Brittany's got a morbid sense of humor that I appreciate, made me laugh. That was the last cookie that I ate because I just got a kick out of that. But the funny thing is, my wife changed her tune. She's, "Oh, another box." Go crash again. Go get another box. John, why do you mispronounce Xavier's last name? It's not pronounced Xavier. It's pronounced Xavier. Just curious. I pronounce it Xavier because the one person in real life that I know with the same spelling says Xavier. So I've been hearing it for so long. I used to say Xavier, like you pronounced, but when I met a kid, why can't I remember his first name? But his name was Xavier, and now a friend of mine has a child named Xavier, but she pronounces Javier. So I just say Xavier because I don't even think about it. I mean, you're right. I should say Xavier, but I just say Xavier because of the one person that I know. It just automatically, I don't even think about it. I assumed it was pronounced Javier, and I assumed he was Mexican. I think he's Spanish, of Spanish descent. I don't know, though. So, I mean, they never really cared so much about identity politics until modern Marvel. So if anybody knows 2015, the past 10 years of Marvel Comics, I'm sure they explored every non-white aspect of all the X-Men. But I don't know. So that's why I say Xavier, just because of somebody I know. We got a Slim Jim. We got these toys. These were die-cast metal. I had a few of these. I really liked them. I had a few of these. So now Cyclops, way to go, hero. So as you see right over here, he's looking at the consequences of his actions. He let loose with his eye beams, which are not heat, which are not radiation. They're pure force. They're just boom. It's like being hit with a super powerful water cannon minus the water. You know what I mean? It's just force. It's like getting punched by the Hulk. Everything's destroyed. You knew the rules when you got into this game. You know everything. So now he's walking around. He's kind of ignoring this obelisk in the background. Rest in peace, John Proudstar. You've earned that much. So there you have Cyclops. And if you're not careful, you may soon be resting as peacefully and as permanently as your friend. So now this little... Okay, so it said plot assist by Bill Mantle. All I could think of is Chris Claremont. It's like, what should I do? Like something must have happened. If Marcus isn't here, I'm sure he would fill me in all the details. But Len Wein wrote the previous 3 new X-Men stories. This is Chris Claremont's first one, and he must be like, what am I writing? What am I... And Bill, this happens. Because, you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. Can't prove it. So what do we got here? They're in the danger room. So cut to this. I love Colossus is swatting Wolverine around, and now Wolverine pops out his claws. Now, I always think it's funny. Wolverine, out of all the superheroes that I could think of, has a power that is designed to kill you. Cyclops' powers can kill you. Colossus' powers can kill you. Storm's powers can kill you. But Wolverine's powers, the whole purpose is to kill. They're stabby. They're knives. You know what I mean? Like, if you're using a knife in a fight, there's like no non-lethal way. Am I crazy? But there's no non-lethal way to use a knife in a fight. You're using a knife. You're just telling people, I'm ready to kill you. If you're using a gun in a fight, it's like, you're ready. You're going to die. This fight, I'm going to kill you. It's not like these idiots who don't understand guns, like, just shoot him in the leg. It's not. If you're pulling out a knife in a fight, you are indicating, I'm willing to kill. I'm going to kill. Back off or die. Same with the gun. Now, Cyclops, every other superhero that I could think of, Punisher not being a superhero, they have total, like, them using their powers is not an indicator that I'm going to kill you. You know what I mean? But Wolverine, once he pops out these claws, it's I'm going to kill you. And I always think about that. So they're in the danger room playing, and this lunatic pulls out, I'm ready to kill you. Like, how do you practice that? I'm going to pretend these are supposed to be razor sharp adamantium claws. You know what I mean? Am I articulating myself well? Like, Wolverine, this is just a maniac. This is just a dangerous wild animal right now. This isn't, you don't gently stab people with adamantium razor sharp claws. Like, Wolverine should be having his fists up. You know what I mean? Because this is practice. You don't, but that's supposed to be, that's the way I think. Wolverine is a dangerous, he's this close to being a serial killer. Like, he's one step away from being a bad guy at any point. The whole noble ninja shogun sensei stuff that came later on. Yeah, but that's a different character almost. But I do like that character. But this is the Wolverine that I always think about. Not much of a planner. He's a reactor. He shouldn't be super intelligent. He should just be brashness and reaction. Later on, when he becomes a mentor to little girls, stuff like that, I don't know. I don't buy it. He shouldn't be around little kids. He should be like, get away from me, Kitty Pryde. I'm an animal. I'm a rebel, Dottie. But so now Storm, she just blows him away. Oof, you pull out your knives on me, be gone, mortal. And then Nightcrawler just laughs at him. Elves, what's so funny? You don't laugh at me, Nightcrawler. You get that? And what does Wolverine do? Nobody laughs at the Wolverine, mister. Storm immediately understands how dangerous this situation is. This is Murder Guy. Murder Guy is coming to kill Nightcrawler because Nightcrawler laughed. Boom. Look, this isn't restraint. This isn't skill. This is rage. Ready to kill. Boom. He goes, laddie, take it easy. You could have killed Nightcrawler. Yeah, I know. This is murder with intent. Banshee, can I have a word with you, please? Not Wolverine. We need to do something about you. Xavier is the worst. I've made it clear that I'm not a fan of Xavier or Javier. I'm not a fan of this character. He's a creepy abuser of his authority. I don't like Xavier. Xavier needs to go on a years-long redemption arc. I can't even when it comes to Xavier. Where are we? Jeez, that is Professor X Xavier. Potatoes. Charles. Now I'm self-conscious. Thanks, Logic. Charles Xavier is British, but was born in Nagasaki, Japan, to Dr. Brian and Sharon Xavier. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay. He's British. So, I mean, he's got to have like Spanish ancestry somewhere, because now they're like, he's Hispanic and my representation. I hear you, Logic. It makes perfect sense, but I reject your reality and substitute my own. There you go. Like any good. Ignore the facts. Ignore, empirical data. British, that would explain why he has a plantation. Has there ever been an exploration of the physics behind why Cyclops eye blasts don't knock him back with an equal opposite force? In the Marvel universe, they explain it, and here's my explanation. Who cares? You know what I mean? They work. Superman flies, Nightcrawler teleports. It's just enough to say that it does. Now, if you want explanations for all that, that's cool, well and good. I'm actually going to explain where superhero powers come from in my comic, but it still doesn't explain how they know it. They know. I'll explain how superpowers come from, and the explanation is because they changed the laws of physics. He has a very strong neck. Did you see Daniel Warren Johnson's story in Wolverine 400? No, I haven't seen any new Marvel comics. I think the closest, I think I bought some back issues up to 2018, but in the Fantastic Four. But I quit Marvel 10 years ago. I can't believe it's 10 years ago already. Wolverine was another jerk, but his concept was so original, his popularity wouldn't allow editing him to do anything. Yes. Plus, he wasn't. He existed outside. Yeah, they thought that Thunderbird and Wolverine were the same character in different costumes. I kind of disagree, and I kind of like. I would have liked to see like the dynamic of these Cyclops butting heads with two wild men who. I think it would have been a matter of time before Wolverine and Thunderbird were trying to kill each other, and then Cyclops trying to get in the middle. I think there was a lot of story potential wasted in the death of Thunderbird. American comic book readers don't like ninjas. We love ninjas. We love ninjas. I like the explanation that Wolverine's adamantium is poisoning him and slows down the development of his powers. Yeah, that's kind of, it makes sense that his healing factor is constantly dealing with his bones. I do think that's kind of fun. Wolverine is pure animalistic killer. He's always on the edge, but the DIA won't hate anything masculine. Yep. I would say the opposite. That again, logic is going to viver, but the fact that pure animalistic killer is not masculine, to me, that's primordial. That's animal. Masculine is the ability to control pure animalistic killer, which contradicts Wolverine being masculine. But like Cyclops is masculine. He is control. He is logic over emotion. Wolverine is more stereotypical female. He's more he's animal. He's rage. He's fatherless behavior. You know what I mean? Like Wolverine will impregnate 1 million women. He'll kill people that insult him. That's not masculine behavior. That's primordial animal lack of discipline behavior. I await the vivisection of logic. So you're saying you don't like, I love Wolverine. I love Wolverine's arc, but this is my favorite Wolverine. This is my favorite Wolverine. Once he evolved to mentor status, you fundamentally change the character. But I don't have a problem with fundamentally changing the character if it's a long, logical, fun, like Bucky. Bucky, does anybody not like the Winter Soldier? They fundamentally changed the character more than any other character. So, and I like it. As long as it makes sense. What I don't like is Iceman. That was a change in the character that made no sense. And I don't like Peter Parker, alienated. He started out as an alienated loner on the verge of supervillainy to sarcastic, witty superhero who understands the stakes to wimpy little, I'm a twink now. That I don't like. Wolverine went from hard rock to Papa Bear. Yep. John, you don't like Professor X? You are way off the reservation with that one. Yeah. Pretty much. I think I have a group of people that agree with me. He's Bobby. He's Bobby is probably the user. I don't understand that. Professor X is not Smash, John. Your mind works strange ways. Doesn't matter what a creator says. Only John knows better than it. Yeah, I know better than everybody. Aren't they explaining it that he's Hispanic in modern Marvel? Yeah, because the name, Okay, now get this. Kurt Marco, the dad of the Juggernaut and stepdad of Charles Abbott, was an Italian-American. Talk about the stereotyping guy's wife beater and his wife. Oh, really? Kurt Marco? I didn't know he was Italian. It got me thinking about Cyclops, and I just realized that it just would have caused. It got me thinking about Xavier, and it would have caused me to go on a whole other. People did not like Psylocke. No, people love Psylocke. People like ninjas. Man, when Daredevil fights ninjas, or Wolverine fights ninjas, you put Wolverine and ninjas on a cover of a comic, boom, your sales are going up. Hey, Renowned Zero's here. People, yeah, they like Psylocke. I agree with John on that. I'd like to know exactly what you're agreeing with me on, because lack of self-control, controlling your instincts and fulfilling your duty as masculine. Absolutely. So, it sounds contradictory where Cyclops is the masculine figure. Wolverine is Cyclops is positive masculinity. Wolverine is toxic masculinity. Ironically, what people call toxic masculinity today is positive masculinity. That strong Chad behavior, in control, knows what to do kind of thing. And toxic masculinity is celebrated. People yelling and screaming, fighting because somebody was dissed and stuff like that is toxic masculinity. So here we go. And I'm going to clarify it even further. Cyclops is Apollo. Wolverine is Dionysus. How's that? John, being able to control violent urges isn't masculine. That's human thought and discipline. Yeah, but masculine is somebody disses you and you lash out. That is just feminine, emotional. Masculine is control of this violence. Wolverine learned to control his animal instincts. Yes, he was tamed. The wild animal was tamed, absolutely. And it fundamentally changed the character. But that's fine as long as it's a learning, organic, well-developed process, which Chris Claremont was able to do. And I know logics can jump down my throat. There's a couple of things I disagree with Chris Claremont on, but whatever. Professor Xavier and his Zave men. There you go. I'm getting dogpiled on. If you guys haven't learned anything about me by yet, getting dogpiled on doesn't change the way I'm that stubborn. If I went through COVID without getting that stupid vaccination, and currently what's going on online, I could deal with a couple of dog piles about Xavier. Cyclops Cyclops' body is his use to his powers. Yeah, they make up something about how whatever it absorbs. But the fact is, why doesn't the Human Torch burn when he's on fire? You know what I mean? Why doesn't Iceman get frostbite when he uses his power? Because if you're not immune to your own powers, then you're useless. They're probably, thank you for the other side of the fence. You just gave me an idea. What if you developed superpowers, but you weren't immune to them? So you burst into flame and you get burnt up. Well, I have a character called the Burning Man who has Human Torch powers. He's a villain, and he went on fire and burnt but wouldn't die. So he felt all the horrible burning aspects of his powers, but his body wouldn't perish because of it. He went insane and he couldn't turn it off. So he stayed under, and he actually wore like a bell diving suit. This is all in my role-playing game, filled with salves and ointments and water to keep his powers on. He lived in fear of his power to the point he created superhero suits to contain your powers. So it was a guy who created suits so before Burning Man, all superheroes' costumes would get ripped every time they were in a fight in my world. And then Burning Man invented proto matter, which is my version of unstable molecules to withstand their powers. Because he couldn't. I have another character called Tundra who can't turn off his ice powers, and he's freezing. So he's always seeking out warmth. So if in Marvel, if you have a power and you're not immune to it, just imagine like a person with spontaneous human combustion. That was probably a mutant whose powers activated, but he wasn't immune to it. There you go. The fact that Charles X-Man was born in Nagasaki might be why Sunfire would even entertain talking to him. Yeah, and it also is probably how they're explaining, early X-Men, I think they were trying to imply like the reason why there's so many mutants now is because now we're in the atomic age, children of the atom. After the atom bomb exploded, radiation is in the air and it's activating these I don't know if they're still entertaining that, but that was like a side story. Wow, a lot of comments, guys. I'm never gonna get through. Those are fake ninjas. So John Martimore woke the someone makes I don't know, but I heard that they said that he was Spanish, and I remember going, Xavier kind of is a Spanish name, that I'll allow it. But yes, I do admit that up until this point, at least, there was no indication really of his past at all. I'm trying to think, at this point, was he born in Nagasaki? I do know that later on they do say he's Spanish, so I'll allow it because Xavier, everybody that I know with that name, whether a first name or a last name, does have some Spanish, Mexican, Mesoamerican, whatever the word you want to use, descent. That doesn't bother. That don't bother me. If your name is, I'm trying to think. If your name is McCoy, Dr. McCoy, and then they reveal that he's Scottish. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? The fact that y'all didn't say Wolverine is a ninja. Not yet. Not yet. Right now, he's an animal. He's a ninja later on. Right now, he's an animal. Deadpool, that's a character I don't like. Yes, in the early... remember, it wasn't for Matt Murdock taking toxic chemical contained in the face. There'd be 4 fewer... Yes. I love how unofficially Daredevil created the Mutant Ninja Turtles. 90s Americans, they love ninjas. They love ninjas. You know, look, Elektra's story, you know. I used to play ninjas. Me, old man Logan over here used to play ninjas. Not in the 90s, in the 80s. We freaking loved ninjas. That's why they were radioactive mutant ninja turtles. I think Logan once got very close to a deer and then just touched it. Yeah, that's coming up. That's coming up. I think I forget what issue it is, but it's the John Byrne year. You're confusing emotional control with violent action. Wolverine is not feminine. I know. He's pure masculine. He's pure toxic masculinity. He's violent in his action. He controls the masters is fighting later on. At this point, he's just an animal. You know, at this point, he's just an animal. But yes, he's toxic masculinity, and Cyclops to me is positive masculinity. I agree about Iceman. He used to be my favorite character, but once I heard the trend, yes, that person could come out at any time, but it wasn't. Yeah, I know. I read that comment fast because I don't want to get into it. My favorite X-Men artist, hands down, John Byrne, inked by Terry Austin. That's not even a question. I lost interest in Logan after he became ubiquitous. What does that mean? Like everywhere? Is that what ubiquitous means? Like every, yeah. Wolverine is primal and beastly. That isn't masculine. That's animalistic. Yeah. Feral. To be Apollo, to be masculine, you have to be in control of your emotions. You know what I mean? You have to be the father. You have to be the Polynesian. To be born a male, have male traits, but no control, and you just react to the slightest insult. That's Dionysian. Pleasure, just motivated by. You are defined by the outside stimuli, whereas Cyclops is defined by his will and inside stimuli. The Just My Hero Academia. Masculinity isn't toxic. I know. That's the whole point of the patriarch. Masculinity is positive. It defends femininity. A man controls his emotions. Be violent when violence is needed. Absolutely, Logic. Absolutely. That I can't agree with more. You're going to see the patriarch lose his emotional state in patriarch number 1. A moment of letting loose of control. Iceman's change was a self-insert of a gay right. Absolutely. There's a character in anime whose power is to heal, but he feels the pain of every. Yeah. That's also from Star Trek. This episode starts the very last episode of Star Trek. The last episode I think aired or filmed. No, the last episode filmed, but not the last episode aired. The last episode aired was Turnabout Intruder. The last episode filmed was The Empath. And you can just see how poor the sets are in that one. There are no sets. It's just 3 actors walking around on the dark. And that woman, the empath, she could heal you, but she took on your pain and trauma and then regenerated. It's a cool trope. I have a character that could do that. It's cool, and it gives you instant pathos. Can anyone name the last hero's crutch in comics? John, if Wolverine was feminine, he would attack any person just because his feelings are hurt. He just did. He's doing it right here. He's attacking Wolverine. Wolverine laughs at him, and he says, "You hurt my feelings. I'm going to murder you." Yeah, I know. There you go. He's doing it right here. He got his feelings hurt. He got embarrassed. But you know what I mean? But he gets better. Like he got turned into a newt. Logic isn't being Logic the character. Oh, Logic's fine. Okay. I misunderstood that. Remember, Wolverine is ninja before he got the I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. He doesn't become a ninja until later on when he meets Mariko, goes to Japan, and goes on like this vision quest. Before he got the adamantium, he was a wild animal. Unless there's something I'm missing, I always willing to entertain the idea that I'm crazy. And they're adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. Yes, I did a video on that. Don Chin's been on my channels. Yeah, the 80s and 90s were all about ninjas, martial arts. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry, but we loved ninjas in the 80s and 90s. I mean, look how popular karate films were. Man, did we love it. Bruce Lee was the poop. When I was a wee tyke, we used to like go to what the flea markets and secretly buy ninja stars, and we would be in the basement throwing ninja stars at dartboards, just marking up the wall. We wanted to be ninjas as kids. And I'm talking, you either wanted to be a Jedi or a ninja or the best, a ninja Jedi, a Jinjai, a ninja, or a Jetja. What would be a ninja Jedi called? Guys, so many comments. I'm never going to get through this comment. Remember, right now, Logan only remembers like 5 years of his life. Is that true? I can't argue. I can't argue that. Is that true? Yeah. Oh, at this point, yes, he has no memory beyond the adamantium. Yes, you're right. Marvel unit. Big. I'm done. Okay. Masculinity is never toxic. A bad person is a bad person. Toxic is the insult. Yes. I'm agreed. Logic. There are the versions of masculinity that are toxic. It's usually okay. So was Ted Bundy? What I'm saying is masculinity, and when I said positive masculinity and toxic masculinity, yes, I'm using the feminist terms, but they use them wrong, and I'm correcting these crazy women or feminists or progressives, because feminists can be crazy men too. But when they say toxic masculinity, what I'm like the man who goes to work every day, chops down the trees, builds America, fights the wars. They're like, that guy's toxic masculinity, yeah, and the boy who acts curious and is precocious in class, everything, like toxic masculine. I'm making fun of them, and I think in this particular comic, Cyclops presents everything that's good about masculinity, and I think Wolverine represents everything at this point. Wolverine represents everything that's bad about masculinity. They're both masculine, but Wolverine is lack of discipline. Cyclops is peak discipline with this, and then right here, Cyclops lapses in his discipline. He lapses in his positive masculinity, and it causes problems. I wonder if Chris Claremont would agree to that. It's the lack of his positive masculinity that caused the problems in this issues. No, he was in Japan during World War II and stayed after the war, but Project X got to him. That's a new development that I don't know then. Wolverine became a ninja after the adamant. He trained with Miracle. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I know. And for some reason, my phone is blowing up with messages. So I try to ignore it. So I just turn my phone upside down. I turn the sound down so I don't get. I used to get clowned for like, oh, don't get clowned. Tell them ninjas were the freaking coolest thing. There you go. Quote of the year: Bruce Lee was the poop. There you go. Just like the other day with eudaimonia, shit in the marmalade. The film was a retcon. Yeah, if you're talking about the movies, that means don't listen to it. That's what that means. Yeah, I'm with Logic on this one, 100%. I'm talking about the comic books. The movies are their own thing. I still remember my mom yelling, "No ninja play" when we're, yeah. Beverly Hills Ninja, Chris Farley, 1997. That's even late for ninja stuff. Masculinity is never toxic. Logic, finest, he already learned to be a ninja post-World War II. He just forgot once he had his full memory. Okay, that I'll buy. If that's the case, I'll buy that. I could say the Three Ninja Kids. There was another movie about kids becoming ninjas. I don't know, but that's a retcon fan. The film was, don't even bring up the film. Don't even bring up the movies. Don't even bring up the movies. The movies are, we all agree that the X-Men movies are a mess. Even the issue you're reading, he doesn't have the metal bones. Yeah. he does and he doesn't. This is a quantum state. That's an interesting other side of the fence brought up an interesting point. Wolverine at this point is in he's Schrodinger's Wolverine at this point. At this point, he is a mutant and he's not a mutant. At this point, the claws are external to the gloves and not external to the gloves. At this point, he has all of his memories and he does. Why? Because he's a blank slate. This Wolverine showed up in X-Men, in Hulk 180 in a cameo, and then 181 full-on story. Len Wein created him, and they didn't know what to do with Wolverine. Was he a mutant? At one point, he was. These are all the behind-the-scenes origins for the character. At one point, they were discussing that he was an actual Wolverine that was mutated into the shape of a human by the High Evolutionary. Now, of course, none of these made it to the page, but right now, they don't know what to do with Wolverine. We don't even know his first name at this point. He's not called Logan until I think issue 112. So right now, he's just guy in a mask who doesn't take his... We don't know that he has sideburns yet. We know nothing about this character other than he's crazy. He can't even heal yet. You know what I mean? This is like he is a total mystery character. He is an X in the fact that a variable. So yeah. And then we find out he has the metal bones. He found out he can heal, but right now he's just tough murder guy. That's really all we know about him. That's really all we know about him. And I'm going to continue this because I'll never get through this. We'll go to the next page. This makes me laugh. I don't know why this makes me laugh. Here we got Sean Cassidy, which always makes me laugh because Sean Cassidy, the Do Run 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 singer, his brother is David Cassidy from the Partridge Family. But when they made up Sean Cassidy, that guy either wasn't famous yet or maybe he wasn't even on stage yet. But he's Irish. He's older. I think he's closer in age, if not older than Charles. I'm not sure. But he is significantly older than the rest of the X-Men to the point where he's chummy with Charlie rather than and then of course Wolverine's older than all of them, but we don't know about that yet. But they specifically said Storm was a teenager, so the most she could be is 19. Colossus, they said, was a teenager, so the most he could be is 19. Cyclops, I would say he has to be, the youngest Cyclops could be is 20. And again, I'm just logicking these terms. I don't know if they're accurate. This is just me logicking it out. But he, I think, is close to 40, if not 40. And Charlie, I would put him in his 40s, And I just love this. So there's laser beams going out, and he's just smoking, wearing a turtleneck. He. This is just like LARPing as an Irishman kind of thing. He's got the turtleneck on, he's got the hat on, he's got the pipe. The only thing missing is just like, whiskey shots. You know what I mean? You might as well just have a potato, just holding a potato. I don't know. It just makes me laugh. And then, and I love this. Perfect example of Marvel Comics. Perfect example. You're looking tired, Charles. I'm tired. These past few weeks have not been pleasant ones. I know Thunderbird's death has got us all down, but I'm worried. It's Scott I'm worried about. And I'm reading this word for word just to explain the point that I'm about to make. It's Scott I'm worried about. He's trying not to show it, but Thunderbird's death has affected him deeply. He's starting to brood, make mistakes. If he doesn't even up, relax, I don't know, Banshee. I don't know. So, heady topics, important topics. Modern Marvel, they would be sitting over a coffee table. Classic Marvel, they're talking about heady topics, but Storm is flying around laser beams. She's shooting lightning bolts, exploding everything. And then, this panel is a break from all the action. But you get what I'm saying? You can have these in-depth, heart-to-heart, explore my emotions kind of talks. But there better be a laser beam involved. There better be a robot. There better be an explosion because it's a freaking comic book. It's a Marvel comic book, And ding dong at the door, housekeeper. So I love this. Blessed. I'm expecting a new housekeeper. She's looking after the house and things while I'm gone. I'm just Just laughing at that. She's going to look after the house and some things. And they open it up. It's Moira MacTaggert. And I've been engaged as housekeeper by Charles Xavier. Do you want to make something about it? Housekeeper says, a nice widow woman, in the name of Moira MacTaggert, probably 80 years old, ugly as sin, with 40 years service in the Scots Guards. All right, I'm coming. Opens the door, and it's Moira MacTaggert. First appearance of Moira MacTaggert, you know? And I love it. She's here to look after the house and things. And later on, we find out that she's an ex-girlfriend. What thing is she going to look after? I don't know. And I love it. So she's just supposed to be the housekeeper. Later on, she's the all-powerful mutant scientist, but that's Chris Claremont for you, you know. Cut again to it. A once secret installation deep within the Adirondack Mountains, preserve of the northern New York. Okay. Here it is, right on schedule. I can't even read that word. Jeez, I can't read this word. But all this government stuff is coming down. Okay, it's Project Arian. I can't even read that word. That's really driving me crazy. So, Project Armageddon. Project Armageddon. Okay, look at this guy's face. You know that. So here we got classic Chris Claremont is setting up a future story. So we got this one page of just a setup of now we got the A plot. Cyclops smashes demonic statue. Talk about it over here. B plot, introducing Project Armageddon. And you know it's a bad guy because no good guy makes a face like that. Okay? So go back to the comments. Where's the last comment? That's a retcon. He was never classed. The film was a retcon. Oh, yeah, we already talked about that. Oh, this was the last comment I brought up. Okay, logic. Anything post 1996 is retcon. Films and comics are all retcons. That's why I walked away from Marvel Comics. They forgot. Yeah, I lasted until 2015. I lasted until 2000. You quit earlier than me. Is his name still James Howlett? I think so. I think so, but I'm 10 years out of the loop. Last I know, he was James Howlett, native Canadian. John Byrne draws the best Colossus. John Byrne draws the best everything. John Byrne, when it comes to superheroes, John Byrne draws the best. No, even in the comics prior to the movies, 268 during World War II, Wolverine teamed up with Cap. Yeah, he was a government agent. He went to Japan. I'm not even entertaining the movies, but if I can't argue this because I don't remember. But I mean, that's one of the things about being 200 years old. I mean, you could write a story where Wolverine becomes a physics professor because there's a lot of time to cover and he doesn't remember it. You know what I mean? It's because Smarter Marvel's going for the movie TV show vibe. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's become incestuous. It used to be they would make this and then the movies would base themselves on these successful comics. And then for whatever reason, the comics reacted to the movie and went opposite. You know, Captain America's popular. Well, we're going to turn him into a black guy, Wolverine, Falcon. Oh, Iron Man is popular. We're going to make a 14-year-old girl. And the sales plummeted. It was the biggest bumble in the history of comics. Biggest bumble in the history of comics. And now they've come full circle with now they're copying the comics, but they're copying the bad comics that were reactions to the movies that caused them to tank. And now they're causing the movies to tank. Marvel. I don't understand. Yeah, I couldn't take it anymore. Couldn't take it anymore. I absolutely agree. Phantom Wolverine. My brain just put those words together. I was thinking, the Phantom Wolverine. The Phantom Wolverine. It's a Wolverine, but he's a ghost. He trained with Mirko and the family. He was never. Yep. We could belabor the point forever. Moira MacTaggert son of the powerful mutants alive, Proteus. I'm waiting on the 5 comic. I would read that. There's some good stories around. I'm sure there are. You know, and now I'm getting piled on from my talk with Liam when I said human beings talk in generalities. You know, I call it the apples to bushels fallacy. When I say comics were bad in 2015, only a baby brain idiot thinks I'm talking in absolutes. But then again, people who disagree with me, not Logic. Logic, I like when he disagrees with me. He could be taxing, like Khan. You tax me, you task me. That's the quote. But it's always fun. But the guys that I'm talking about are baby-brained idiots. Isn't Mirror? Yeah, time traveling. I heard about it. I didn't read it. Everybody's a mutant now. You can't just have her. What's her name? Stevie Hunter, the dance instructor. So how long before she's a mutant? Yeah, I don't. I didn't even want to read your comment once I saw the name Feig. Yeah. The movies are the movies. The comics are the comics. As far as I'm concerned, that sounds good, Guapo. My fault. Yeah, X-Men 6. I got to reread 268. I think that's after. I think that's after I quit. So maybe that's why I don't recall it, because I quit and then I bought all like a long box full of comics and read them all at once. Like I used to read them monthly and really absorb them and think about them. And now I remember them. But once I read them in binges, I don't remember them as well. I'll say this, though. DC has some good stories right now. Yeah, people are talking about comics are making a turn, is from what I heard. Action has been really good for the past several months. People disagree with everybody disagrees with me. Everybody disagrees with me. I'm only concerned with factual. I could talk opinions separately. See, everybody disagrees. But we're adults. Me and Logic could disagree because we're adults. Mark Waid and now Dan Slott are doing very well. I still say Dan Slott and Mark Waid are excellent comic book writers. They need to get this toxic masculinity, meaning lack of control. They need to get this emotionalism under control. You know what I mean? Like Wolverine has talent. He just doesn't have control at this point. Mark Waid, Dan Slott have talent. They just need to be more like Cyclops. Instead, they're more like Dionysus. I'm in a mythological mood because I wrote a mythological story last night. If Brian, are you still here? Brian, get Wolf and Batsy, everybody. All right, so now we have a full whole page, so the page before this separated by ads. So this is really one whole page of Project Armageddon. Oh my God. Like that. Oh my God. So what are they doing? They're talking about the original X-Men. So this is the beginning. This is the seed of all of that. Mutants bad, going to make Sentinels, going to do all of this stuff. It all starts right here. Every contingency has been prepared. No detail has been spared, Michael. Nothing left to chance. The mutants cannot stop me. No one can stop me. I can stop you. You're wrong, Steve. All the way down the line. No, my friend, you are wrong, because we are the ancient Neanderthals facing the mutant Cro-Magnon. It is us or them. Kill or be killed. There is no other way. Even if that were true, your project isn't the answer these days. The country couldn't survive with your kind of mutant witch hunt. Project Armageddon is over, Steve. It's finished. As soon as I get back to Washington, I'm sorry it has to end like this. So, my Colonel, because that means you must never reach Washington alive. And then what do we got here? A Sentinel. We got a Sentinel leg. So this is the beginning of the zealotry anti-mutant nonsense that came to, unfortunately, dominate the X-Men. We've got a nice establishing shot. Formally introduced to the new housekeeper, Mrs. Meyer McTaggart. She's going to look after the house and all of you while I'm away. You cutting out on us, boss? I love this. Wolverine's got one claw extended, and he's just carving into the Xavier's nice wooden furniture like a jerk. For a while, Wolverine, every man needs a vacation at some point. I decided the time has come for mine. Mistress McTaggart, I just want to apologize for the brusque manner of this afternoon. It's not necessary, Mr. Cassidy, ma'am. Sean Cassidy. I'm considered an honor if you join me for a cup of coffee. So here he is. Banshee's, as the kids would say, he's risen her up, which is kind of gross now that I said it out loud. So he's macking on her. That's how we said it back in my day. You macked on chicks. If you were good at it, you macked on chicks. If you macked on chicks but you weren't good on it, or you hit on chicks you shouldn't be hitting on, that's when you snaked on chicks. How is that? So, Phantom Outsider, just because I saw his name, he brings his girl over and we're all hanging out, and I'm macking on Phantom Outsider's girl. I'm snaking on her. But there's another girl who's available. I'm macking on her. How's that for some 80s localized slang, New York, Long Island slang, right? Either you're a Mac or a snake. Nobody wants to be a snake, but unfortunately, too many people were snakes. So remember, Mac on those chicks. Don't snake on those chicks. So Sean Cassidy thinks he's Sean Cassidy thinks he's macking on this chick, but in reality, he's snaking on this chick because that's Xavier's. But Xavier, in Banshee's defense, he never explicitly said that this was hers. He just said that she's the housekeeper and I'm taking off. So Mac away. And what's going on? They're all talking. We are all here one way or another, Professor. Why are you intent on keeping our existence secret? Why reveal our true nature to this housekeeper? That is my affair, Oro. Jerk. Xavier's being a jerk. She asked a legitimate question, and he's a jerk about it. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Xavier. Have you seen Scott? Good Lord, those are Scott's I-beams blasting full power. And they right outside! Xavier is saved by the bell because Storm asked a legit question, and he bit a jerk on her. How's that for bad English? Where is... they are annoying people for good writers. Talking about Dan Slott, Mark Waid. Absolutely. They're sometimes good writers, but they're mostly failed human beings. Well, yeah. I was going to make a joke on that, but then I couldn't think of a joke. It made the X-Men more interesting. Too bad it's being forced. Absolutely. I agree with you. I hear you, Phantom. I don't care much about their personal lives. If I could see them on a con, I would rightly walk past them, but they're writing. Yes. Dan Slott, I got to find them, but I got a bunch of pictures of me and Dan Slott sitting and talking. I talked to him a few times. This was back when he was writing The Thing. Right before he told me he was going to start writing She-Hulk, and we talked about it. And he recognized me a year later, invited me to sit down at his table, and we talked for a good hour and a half about potential She-Hulk stories, laughing and joking, having a grand old time. You know, now I would walk right past him if I saw him because he's a jerk. He's a jerk, but he's a jerk with talent. John Byrne supposedly is a jerk. Isaac Newton was a jerk from what I heard. You know what I mean? So there's jerks out there. Now, to me, the biggest thing was Mark Waid canceled somebody else's contract. That's effing with somebody's money. Now, I'm not a big fan of your boy Zach these days, but I still think what he did was wrong. You know, that crosses jerk behavior. That's full on asshole behavior. Moira's so powerful. I want the 5 comic because I don't get what is the 5? What is the 5? Banshee from the hometown. Is there ever been a character named the Mac? Needs to be. Oh, there you go, Torch. The Mac, and his foe, the Snake. There you go. Some 70s pimp comics. He smacks down a snake. I like that's kind of fun. There's one thing they were drawing Mara really young as she was born in the 1040s. Is that true? Or more? I was an adult in Adventures with Charles during World. Yeah. Well, that's why Banshee is hitting on her because they're the same age. You know, he may be a Mac he may be a snake. He may be a Mac who's accidentally a snake, but he ain't no inappropriate person who hits on people that are way too young for them. You know, he's not hitting on Storm. You know, he's not hitting on Storm, but he finds a woman his age. So yeah, maybe they're drawing her young, but you know, she's supposed to be around Charles and Sean's age. So Banshee's in his 30s. So he likes them older. He likes those cougars. I don't know. I always thought that Banshee was the oldest, even older than Charles, because he had a whole career and everything like that when they met him, and they always portrayed him as a little older. So but who knows how they never, and rightfully so, they never give you their exact ages. So as far as I would put Banshee, Myra, and Charles kind of in the same group. Ian and Becca Comics. How you doing? How's it going, you all? Just subscribe. Hey, thank you. Yay, yay. Woo, woo, woo. There's a movie called The Mac. Is it about cheese or is it about guys hitting on girls in the 80s? No Banshee was born in the and she was born. Oh, really? Okay. Again, he likes him older. He's not a. I know. I was making a joke. Like if Banshee doesn't hit on Kitty Pryde, when Kitty Pryde shows up, she's 14 years old. Banshee is totally respectful, but he's a good guy. He's hitting on an age-appropriate woman. I was making a joke. Don't, please. Banshee's smart, postmental, or easy to be around. More peaceful. I don't know why that made me laugh as much as it did. All right, let's turn the page. So now we're on page 16. We're on page 16. And now the action is finally happening. So we had some character development. We had some fill-in people who just got here. And we had a subplot. Because this is Chris Claremont now. Boy, it is dense. It is full of all this wonderful stuff. Right now, I think it's great. There are later, like the seeds of identity politics, but it still can be done with skill and finesse and talent. So, this is still good, some good stuff. And so we got Cyclops, his shirt get ripped off. What's going on? Laddie, are you okay? And what do? They rush over and they get in battle already. Holy Hannah, what is that thing? Colossus just transforms. And we got this freak of nature over here that probably belongs in the Defenders comic, but I am Kirok, little animal. Kirok, the shatterer of souls. Kirok, the slayer of men. Kirok, the damned. And I have come for you this night, humans, for your lives and for your souls. Now, I joke about this, but this to me is the wandering monster. If you've ever played Dungeons & Dragons, you know what I'm talking about. You roll the dice and you find out that a monster just shows up. This is just so out of place in the X-Men universe that this to me is Bill Mantlo. This is Bill Mantlo's influence in the story, in my humble opinion, that I cannot prove. But we got Chris Claremont setting up character dynamics, introducing a new character in Myra, introducing the project of Project Armageddon, which becomes, I forget what they call it. It evolves into something. And then all of a sudden we got this demon. You know what I mean? There's a portal to this demon dimension on Xavier's land that was never mentioned before. That's what am I gonna do? I got all this. Where's the action? Bill Mantlo, demon shows up. But it's just fun. It's just fun. I've come for you, eyeless one, who has awakened me before my time. X-Men, scatter. Attack the demon as a team, as Scott and I taught you. That is our only hope. You speak as a leader, old one. For that, my claws will taste your blood first. So that's kind of gross. His claws have taste buds in them. But he is a demon. Not while Storm is alive to stop you. Storm, no, don't bother about me. My mental powers will protect me. I'm no danger, but you are. All right, he does some good stuff. Don't worry about me. Get out of here, Storm. You're no match for Kirok on your own. I like how Xavier is kind of implying that he knows about this, setting up some interesting backstory that I do believe they explore later on. And she doesn't listen, so she gets little claw to the armpit. Little claw to the armpit over there. These Japanese people have like an armpit fetish, right? That is just weird stuff. Weird stuff. What is worse? Armpit fetish or foot fetish? Armpit fetish or foot fetish? They're both bad. Which is worse? I just derailed the whole conversation now for the next hour. So Kirok is now gonna kill her, and then I love this. Colossus right to the breadbasket. Boom, right to the breadbasket over here. Boom, and Colossus will not allow. So he punches him right, hits him right in the dick. Boom, and then hits him in the dick again, right to a wall. Right through a wall. Awesome. Colossus is awesome. I like Colossus at this point. At this point, Cyclops is my favorite because to me he's the most in depth. He's the most heroic. He's the most good guy. Colossus, I take it back. I'll walk back my statement. I like Cyclops the best because to me he embodies the heroic virtues: restraint, pathos. He has sacrifice. He has a tragic power that he's overcoming. Colossus to me is just pure naivety, good guy, just pure innocent. I'm going to do the right thing because it's the right thing because I'm good. You know, I like that. Colossus, I would say, doesn't have much pathos at this point, but he's just like a good, wholesome farm boy. He's like the closest we have to like Superboy at this point. You know, he was the farmland from Siberia who's going to use his powers for a greater purpose and transforms into a Man of Steel, you know. And I don't think it's a coincidence that red, yellow, and blue are his colors at this point. Just such I just love Colossus at this point. So I will adjust the chat. Oh, Mac is a movie about a pimp. Yeah. Like I said, I don't claim we maybe that's why we came up with the term. I don't know. I didn't claim it was just popular slang at the time. It's not like me and my friends made it up. During the Krakoa era, the Five were a team of mutants in charge of resurrection. Egg, Proteus, Elixir, Tempest, and okay. See, I didn't know what you're talking about. Okay, that explains it. Okay, I didn't read those comics. Why was Wolverine voiced by an Australian actor? Because pay. Because it didn't matter. I never watched this. Still haven't watched the X-Men 96 cartoons. By the time X-Men 96 came out, I was kind of sick of the X-Men because there were no men living in Canada in the 90s. All fetishes are weird. Just be normal. Just be normal. I dread even saying that. Armpit fetish is worse. Imagine a Tarantino film with does. Okay, you win. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. You win. You win the argument, hands down. Let's no longer discuss this. I regret my decision to discuss that. That's an excellent analogy. Superman and Colossus. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So here we go. Next page. We got crazy one-eyed demon. He was one-eyed, one horn, flying purple people eater. But he's got two horns. That would have been funny if he had one horn. He's a one-eyed, two-horned, flying purple people eater. And I love this. He just rips out some debris. Yes, I said debris. He rips out some debris and just clunks Colossus with it. You can never defeat me. Never. Colossus, look out, he says after he gets hit. And then we got Nightcrawler. Perhaps not Night Gargoyle, but we could all die trying. He wraps him. So fall, monstrous abomination. Fall. Mike Baron would not approve of this dialogue in combat. Why don't you fall? So this is just great. This is just Nightcrawler, just whooping ass. He's just whooping ass over here. Kirok does not fall to such as you, changeling. An interesting choice of words. He's calling them changeling. You know, and he swats with his tail. And we got the letters page. Let's check out the names of the letters. Not the names, the names on the letters. We got Eddie Shapiro, Connecticut. I was going to say that is such a Queens, New York name. Greg Flood and Jack Kallenberg. And what are they doing? They're talking about X-Men 94. People really liked it. So here we got Marvel Treasury editions. These are gigantic comics. Wow, did the comments just die? I thought after that stupid fetish thing, there would be a billion comments. We still broadcasting? Somebody type something in the chat. Let me know that we're still on. All right, Wolverine. Now Wolverine jumps out. Fella, you just said the wrong thing because this misfit may be a misfit, but he's Wolverine's buddy. And nobody beats on Wolverine's buddy. So this backs up my claim that Wolverine is pure emotion. He's pure emotion. He's reaction. 8 seconds ago, he was murdering. He was willing and directly attempting to murder Nightcrawler. And now he's defending him as his buddy. Wolverine is crazy. Wolverine is dangerous. Wolverine is criminally insane at this point. totally unrestrained, totally a creature of reaction, not in control of his facilities. He is a dangerous murder monster. He's murder hobo. You hurt me. For the first time in countless aeons, a human has hurt me. Hurt me? Babe, you ain't seen nothing yet. And then look at this. This is just awesome Wolverine in action. And then over here, look at that. This is just, as far as I know, this is the first Berserker Rage. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just him going nuts. 10 years of psychotic training and hypnotism and drug therapy, 10 years of praying, and I cut him to pieces without a thought. So here, he has 10 years of memories right here. It's confirmed by Chris Claremont that right now, Wolverine has 10 years of therapy. So he has at least 10 years of memory right now. Nothing changes, prop. I thought I learned to control myself. I guess I was wrong. And want to know something funny? I'm glad. You want to know something even funnier? Karok's not dead. Huh? Man, that's crazy. I blasted him a dozen times, full strength, and each time he reformed stronger than ever. Each time I felt weaker. You look weaker, as if your strength, our life forces were being by him. That's the key to this, and possibly the key to our salvation. I must try a mind probe before he's. I must try a mind probe. No, it's too dangerous. So what is going on? Xavier now is using his mutant abilities to read into the being's mind. I love this panel. So they cry. It comes too late. For already, Charles Xavier probe is deep within the mind of Karok, the Shatter of Souls, deep inside hell. He's swept along like a wood chip in a flood of alien images until, for the brief moments, he actually becomes Karok. And in that moment, Charles Xavier screams. So this is, I love when telepathy is one of my favorite superpowers. And to me, it's unexplored, and the logical consequences of telepathy aren't really ever really dealt with. But this is a good little glimpse of how Chris Claremont, I think, is one of the best people to deal with telepathy. His mind, this ineffable consciousness that is unique to each person and is totally separate from each, as far as I know, my globe of thoughts, my inner world of thoughts is totally separate than yours. And the way through our five senses and communication is the only way that my globe of thoughts interacts with yours. But ultimately, it's not a Venn diagram. So now his global consciousness becomes like a Venn diagram, and they overlap. And that is bizarre. So it's not only is he doing it with a human, he's doing it with a non-alien, extra-dimensional being, and it has its consequences. Xavier has his moments of good guyness. This is one of his moments of good guyness. And let's check out something. I was just panicking for a minute because there were so many comments, and then it went away. Those treasury editions are awesome. They're huge. They're Life magazine size, and I had them all, and they all got destroyed because I just couldn't store them anywhere. They all got destroyed. So now when I buy them, I actually have huge boards, bags, and I put them on top of my long boxes, hopefully never to be destroyed again. I always viewed him as a cooler Spider-Man instead of saying, Nightcrawler. Yeah, Nightcrawler is often compared to Spider-Man for obvious reasons. The whole slinky, dynamic Todd McFarlane poses, and I dare say creepy factor. These days we forget Spider-Man was kind of creepy back then. I knew a lot of kids that didn't like Spider-Man because the spider, affiliation. And the mask was kind of creepy with the webs. Matter of fact, there was a made-for-TV movie about a kid with Down syndrome, and one of the plot lines in it was he's terrified of Spider-Man. And at the end of the movie, they had like an actor dressed up as Spider-Man, and he made peace with Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man was scary to a lot of kids. It's a myth. In a myth, a changeling is a fairy child was swapped out with the human child, and the human parents did not notice. I think if a parent found a baby Nightcrawler in the crib, yes, good, yeah, good point, yeah, yeah. So the demon is making the mistaken, erroneous conclusion that Nightcrawler must be a changeling. Good point. I was just thinking like they don't have all of the characters' backstories flush yet. So I wonder if this point, and I'm probably wrong. It's more likely what you're saying, Phantom, now that you pointed it out. But I was thinking, is this Chris Claremont toying with the idea that Nightcrawler may not be human? You know, so because like at this point, their stories aren't set in stone yet, so they could have been other paths. It wasn't until X-Men Annual 4 when Doctor Strange uses the Eye of Agamotto on Kurt Wagner, and before everybody jumps down my throat, I always said Wagner, and then I started saying Wagner just because it sounds more pretentious. And whatever sounds more pretentious is what I'm going to do. He used the Eye of Agamotto on Kurt and said he's purely human, you know, and then later on, I'm sure they changed it to that he has demonic ancestry. But if he has demonic ancestry, then in my opinion, he's not a mutant, because a mutant has to be human. Telepathy is one of your favorite powers. You must really like Jedis then. No, I don't like Jedis. I don't like Star Wars anymore. I'm done with Star Wars. I like the 3 Star Wars movies, and I'm done. And even, oh man, I mean, it would be a lie to say I didn't like Star Wars. At one point, I was obsessed with Star Wars, like every third grader at the time when Star Wars came out. I lived, ate, breathed Star Wars. But I have to say, at the end of the prequels, I was kind of done with Star Wars. And now the prequels came out, I'm super done. Super done. It's a good thing Cockrum left DC, but Nightcrawler, Storm, and Colossus could have. Yeah. I know that he made Nightcrawler to be a character in the Legion of Superheroes. I don't know. Was Colossus and Storm supposed to be in the Legion also? That would have been tragic. I agree with you. Well, when it worked to his advantage, Nightcrawler could use. Yes. Unfortunately, later on, it starts scaring Kitty Pryde. So let's go to the next page. We got some ads over here. See, I don't mind talking for a long time. You know, this is fun. Look out! All ye's the beasties loose again. And the professors get the professor to safety. Me sonic blasts aren't gonna hold that demon long. Lord in heaven, my mind. We got some Kirby crackle over here. Well, if sonic blasts will do you no good, let's see how yon Kelpie fares against close-range machine gun fire. So Myra McTaggart just comes charging with a machine gun, starting to imply from her very first appearance that she's more than she appears to be. Myra, me darling, you're a fine figure of a woman, but a brave one to boot. And I'm thinking I like ye a lot. But here and now, lassie, we're playing way out of our league. So stay undercover, stay out of trouble, and stay alive. See? Cyclops, the professor's coming around. Oh, my Lord in heaven, I saw what should not be seen. Scott, how are you doing? This is making me like Xavier in this issue, because he's getting some pathos over here, some stakes. Well, we're holding our own. We cannot defeat Karak hand-to-hand. We must destroy him at the source. The Karn, Storm. You must seal the Karn. Go, child. I will direct you. But hurry, Storm. Hurry, or we're all doomed. Excellent writing here. Every character is getting a moment in the sun. Wolverine came out, ripped this thing to shreds. Colossus punched him in the dick. Xavier is using his mind probe to get his weakness. Storm, you know, I meant to say Cyclops accidentally freed him, you know, and now, but Cyclops had like moments in the last 3 issues. Now here's Storm's moment to show. Even Meyer came running out with a machine gun as a mutant. As a non-mutant, as a regular mutant. So Storm comes running out, and what do they find? That there's other demons. And one of the demons stabs her through the boobs, right between the boobs, with a spear. But it's a phantom spear. God, it's the cold. Can't let them hit me again. If they do, I'm dead. And then this freaking crazy-looking demon just jumps on her head, starts eating her brains. Demon spawn. The creatures are creations of the Nagari. Or Nagari. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a nonsense word. Nagari. Well, whatever they are, whatever the hell spawned them, Storm will find that there's no easy prey. So Storm now, she was stabbed in the boobs. Her brain is being eaten by Bugface over here. And now she's just blasting them off with lightning, and she's just shooting lightning. So this cairn, this obelisk, is cracked open, and it's firing Kirby Crackle into the air, which is releasing these demons. And, oh, let's address the chat. I got to sneeze. Shoo! Pardon me. Ooh. Well, it worked to his advantage, Nightcrawler, because he used his appearance to scare. Okay, yep. Yep, he designed all three. Okay, I knew that he did Nightcrawler. I didn't realize it was the other two. Colossus was the replacement for Pharaoh Lad. Oh, okay. How is a 50-year-old lad? Well, he's macking on her. He's macking on her. We established this already. He's even a, listen, Phantom. Let me give you some advice. Okay, I'm a happily married man. You don't get to become a happily married man if you take breaks from hitting on the chicks. Just because, you know, Phantom, if a demon breaks into your house and there's a woman that you're risen on, or you're stinking on, or you're macking on, or you're hitting on, whatever word you so choose, if you stop hitting on her just because the demon attacks, do you really deserve that woman? Do you ever think about that? Storm was a combination of two characters, the Black Cat and Typhoon. Hey, Jerry, your avatar gives me a creeps, man. Thank you. Yeah, every time I click on it, because when it's small in the column, I can't really see what it is, and then I go like that, and whoa, giving me the heebie-jeebies over here. So now we got Hulk and Abomination, and then Wendigo shows up, and you know why they're all monsters? Do you know why they're all monsters? Because they like fruit pies. All monsters. You know why Brian Bao likes monsters? Because Brian Bao likes fruit pies. Brian, I think we've discovered why you like monsters, because you like fruit pies. If you got Heroic Tales #1, there was the fruit pie ad drawn by Fabrizio Aiello. He gave us permission to use Wolf and Batsy in it. And the permission was granted only if they use fruit pies, because Brian is a monster. He's a monster, ladies and gentlemen, who likes horrible. And they're even telling us Hulk monster, Abomination is an abomination. Wendigo is a hunger spirit, cannibalism, and then fruit pies. I don't think you need to be Freud to figure out the symbology over here. John, do you take requests for Comic Book Sunday? So could you do some Silver Surfer? I'm starting to get into that character. Yeah, I this used to be a request show, and then people stopped requesting. That's why I'm doing X-Men, because I'm kind of racking my brain. It sounds silly, but it gets stressful. Like, what am I going to do for Sunday Comic? So I'm just doing the X-Men. If you have a request, put it in the comments. Don't put it in the chat, because I'm starting to see that sometimes the chat sometimes the chat don't happen. Sometimes the chat doesn't publish. I know I'm getting crap for the chat is not available for myself and Liam Gray. That conversation, I had nothing to do with that. I don't know if the chat was hostile or somebody complained. I don't know what it is, but I didn't turn off the chat. I haven't hidden any. I haven't hidden any of my talks. I haven't deleted any of my videos. I haven't turned off the chats or comments on any of my videos. You know, that one, the chat is just not there. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know why, and I can't turn it on. I want to turn it on. The only editing I've ever done is every once in a while I get I keep asking people, can I play this trailer? Because the music in the trailer always messes me up. Right now, the Raiden Radios, the conversation I had on Friday, when I woke up this morning, I saw there was a notification, copyright notice, can't be monetized because of the music in his trailer. But fortunately, YouTube has an option where you can edit out the music. So that's currently being done every time. And I always ask, and they always say it's good, and I'm always messed with it. Wow, Hulk versus Abomination went for some fruit pie. Yep. That should be a movie. That should be a movie. That's the version of the Hulk that I grew up with. Me too. You should see the first design for Thunderbird. It's very, very bad. Not even close. Wow. Do you have it? Where, do you know where it is? I would love to see that, because I still like Thunderbird. I like Thunderbird so much. I didn't mind when James Proudstar showed up in X Factor, except they kind of changed his costume around. So now we got Storm over here. We got a little bit of backstory with her. My mind fuzzy. Nothing fits together. I can't concentrate. Oh, dear God, no. The Karn. I'm being pulled into the Karn, into the dark. As far as I know, this is the first indication of claustrophobia being her weakness. And what do we got? We got her creepy little child. This is her mom, and I'm being pulled in no matter how I can't break free. I must, she's being dragged into this Karn, and now we see her mom's dead. This collapse. I must be free, and I shall be free. So not only is Chris Claremont giving us a nice ending to this story, but he's also giving us some character development, some backstory. No, it's not a retcon, because a retcon would be if we already knew Storm's background and he's changing it. No, he's adding to her backstory. You know what I mean? So she blows up this Karn in this wonderful page that just showcases everything, giving us some background, and he's freaking out in agony, and then he just disappears, turns into ash. Carrick is gone. Yes, I think that Storm has done her work well. But what was he, Professor? Where did he come from? I don't know, Scott. I don't think we'll ever know for sure. But whatever Carrick was and his kind were, they once ruled mankind, and they want very much to rule again. We have not seen the last of Carrick, Scott, nor of the Nagari kind. God help us all. Epilogue. A minor thread. Really, come to rest. I got to read this again. My voice is getting scratchy. Epilogue. A minor thread really come to rest in an apple orchard. A minor thread really come. A minor thread really. Okay. Come to rest in an apple orchard outside of New York, Red Hook, New York. That was really awkward. Man, they needed I literally read that exactly as written. I'm going to read it one more time. Am I reading this wrong? Epilogue. Colon. A minor thread really. Come to rest in an apple orchard outside Red Hook, New York. That is one of the most awkward caption boxes I've ever read in my life. Colonel Rossi, Mickey. It's no use, sir. They're all dead. Everyone aboard, dead. For pity's sake, Nate, there's nothing you can do. So that is a really poor way of saying the guy who's going to shut down Project Abomination, his plane crashed in Red Hook, New York. And miles away, a man who has done enough this night watches the scene on his command console and laughs. So, my brother, my enemy. Some old friends return, and the X-Men suddenly find themselves locked in battle to the death in a shocker that we call My Brother, My Enemy. So, there we go. We got these crazy costumes. This one's these plastic nonsense costumes with the mask. As soon as you put them on, the rubber band would snap. They had a little hole for your mouth, and you'd stick your tongue through, and your tongue would get these little microscopic cuts. But the worst of these was the Hulk costume. So you got a Hulk mask, you got the green pants, I'm with you right there, but then you got a yellow shirt with Hulk's face on it. You're supposed to be the Hulk. The Hulk doesn't run around with his face on his chest. Like Ghost Rider is Space Ghost is the only superhero that has his face as his symbol. And it somehow works for Ghost Rider. But what works for Ghost Rider doesn't work for the Hulk. And then you got this freak on the back. I hate that guy. I just want to slap him. I don't even want to punch him. I want to slap him. Just get off my comic book. And there you go. That's X-Men 96. I see Brian Bow commented, I want to hear what he has to say. I would fight Abomination and Wendigo for a Hostess fruit pies. Favorite 1980s childhood junk food. I told you he was a monster. I told you he was a monster. It all falls into place. Once you understand Brian's love, dare I say it, lust for a fruit pie, you understand why he's into monsters. We all understand. We all know the Twinkies are the best. I will accept cupcakes. But a fruit pie? No. How dare you? I will Greta Thunberg you, Brian. How dare you? How dare you? Oh, OmniPro, you too? Am I being rat piled over here? It's not enough. I got the CG nonsense going on. Now I'm gonna have Fruit Pie Gate. Fruitgate. Fruitgate. A new group. Later, Claremont gave Nightcrawler an image inducer so he could disguise his appearance to not look like a demon. Total contradicting. Yeah, accepting his appearance as being a mutant. Absolutely, I agree 100%. I'm trying not to look at your avatar because it gives me the creeps, but I agree with you. So those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Xavier made this little machine that created an illusion so that you could look like a normal human. Vision also uses it too, so he could become Victor Shade and walk around like a human. Yes, it is a contradiction because we're the X-Men. We're supposed to be accepted for what we are. But I will admit that Nightcrawler is not perfect. And Nightcrawler just wants to walk around and be normal for a while. So I can understand it. To me, it only adds to the pathos of the character. But yes, we want to be accepted. We want to be accepted. But I also just want to be able to go to the store. I want to go to McDonald's. I want to walk through the park. Like, I understand it's never going to happen. So to me, it's a wonderful contradiction. It's not a bad contradiction. It's one of those contradictions that adds a dimension to the character. How did Storm defeat the demon? I missed it. She blew apart the Karn. She panicked. They revealed that she has claustrophobia, and she blew apart the Karn. That was the Deus Ex Machina link between their dimension and our dimension. So without that link to stabilize this warp gate, I'm logicking it out. There was something about the technology or the magic, whatever, that stabilized the warp gate. Once that blew apart, whatever held the magics or the technology vaporized, and without the link to that dimension, the Nagari Kirok, the demon, vaporized into ash. Those are some bulky kids in those costumes. They were husky. That was the word for little fat kids back then. You were a little fat kid, you went to the husky section. And oh my God, when I realized I was a fat kid, my mom's like, I remember there was a clothing store called Schwatzky's. And that's why my mom went shopping. And I remember I got the cool thing was like football bomber jackets. That was the cool thing. And I wanted one because I'm a kid, and kids are there's nothing more conformist than an American kid. So I wanted to fit in with everybody else. I wanted this bomber jacket, blue fleecy jacket with silver sleeves. I don't even know what football team that was, but that's what I wanted. So we went to Schwatzky's to buy this jacket, and we're looking at jackets and nothing fits. And the saleswoman was like, "Oh, we have over here in the husky department." And I'm just like, "Husky? That's for the fat kids." And I was like, "Mom, I'm not getting a jacket in the husky department." And that was a realization that in second grade, I was a little fat kid. I was husky. Fruit pies are disgusting. Chocolate ones are great. I'll stand. All right, I got Lacey Lee. We stand on the side of humanity and good. If you open up a new window to Google Advanced Large Punch and Dig Cockroach X-Men Designs original Thunderbird should be in the second image. Could you send me that image over Twitter? DM me. Are we friends on Twitter? Because I got this in the way and I have to pull up my drawer to type. Fruit pies are glorious. Lemon is probably. Oh my God! Do you ever know the Lemonhead song? There's a band. They were in the 90s. They called on their first album. They have a song called "Hate Your Friends." Now I finally understand why he wrote that song. Hate your friends. Keep your fruit pie out of my desert. Grandma always had Hostess fruit pies at her house. My mom would never buy. Well, your mom is smart. Your mom was a very intelligent, lovely lady. Deserts are hot, dry. They need deserts more than anyone. They need desserts more than anyone. Oh, the Karn. Thanks. Apple and cherry were the mainstays, but peach was my favorite. The rare gem you only got once in a while. Thank God. Can you imagine how messed up you'd be if you had more peach Hostess fruit pies? Always a living spell check around. and we're all laughing. Well, I'm just going to assume that we're laughing at Brian for liking peach fruit pies by Hostess. I could. Did anybody get the apple pies at McDonald's? I never had one, and I'm a disgusting human being. I'm a disgusting. If given the choice, I'll probably pick junk food over a nice home cooked meal because I'm a disgusting slob, and I still never got apple pies at McDonald's that were served at scalding temperatures, burn your tongue temperatures. So there you go. Next week we'll do 97, unless if you got requests for Sunday comics, put them in the comment section after the video is published. And I know Brian has requested a comic, and Brian was asking for a Firestorm comic, but he never told me the issue, so I never did it. I'm trying to think. I did. RJ requested a Thor comic, so I did that. I don't mind doing requests for Sunday comics. It's kind of fun, actually. But unless I know what else to do, I'll kind of do the X-Men, because this is such a great run of X-Men comics. Do you remember Maze and TSS from the 70s? I don't remember Maze, but I remember TSS, Times Square Stores. Times Square Stores was a huge store in Oceanside, New York. Behind it was a wilderness. And that's where everybody would ride their mini bikes. It was like I think at one point it was a dump. Or maybe they started to build something and then they abandoned it. But it was this huge, huge lot and trees grew on it. And that's where you rode your mini bikes. Mini bikes, I cannot stress how big mini bikes were. Motorcycles, anything on two wheels was super huge in the 70s. Evel Knievel, Fonzie, motorcycles, mini bikes. Mini bikes were just miniature motorcycles. They were like illegal. But as long as you stayed behind TSS in this lot, they left you alone because it was a wilderness. Nobody lived it. Part of Oceanside that was like between Island Park, Long Beach, and Oceanside, it was like no man's land. And we called it Oil City because there was an oil refinery back there. So nobody wanted to live there because it was like the beginning of an industrial complex. Why am I talking about this? But TSS, you go to TSS. I used to hop on the bus, go all the way to TSS because it had the most amazing record store. The records department at TSS was awesome. The guy who ran that store knew his punk rock. And that was my go-to for punk rock records for the longest time. Brian Bow loves this conversation. Schwatzky's, I love that. It was Kmart for us in Detroit. And Schwatzky's was the first time I heard the word Chotsky's because they had Schwatzky's, Chotsky's. When Cockrum did the X-Men, it was Nightcrawler heavy. Yep. Yeah, Cockrum loved Nightcrawler. When Byrne did it, we saw more Wolverine, and Claremont wanted to get rid of Wolverine. Byrne refused because they were Canadian. I didn't know Claremont wanted to get rid of Wolverine. To me, that's getting rid of the baby with the bathwater. I never liked the yellow suit on Wolverine. I love the brown suit, looked more menacing. The yellow looked lame. Yeah, I like, you're going to hear the same old story from me. I loved this costume. And when they changed it to the Byrne costume, the brown one, I hated it because I was used to the Wolverine. But I've grown to like that one as my favorite. That's usually new, shocking, scary. Okay, I deal with it too. Hey, that's the way it should be. Back. El D'Agusto, good to see you. And man, I kind of like your avatar. What is it? It looks like a werecat looking at the Swamp Thing. I can't really discern what it is. But Hulkin, I think the Thing loved Hostess fruit pies. Apples. Yeah, the monsters ate fruit pies. I don't think that's a coincidence. The monsters ate fruit pie. Oh, no cell phone, no Twitter. Okay. I'll look it up. I'll look it up and I'll post it on Twitter later. We have a request for Silver Surfer. Any Silver Surfer. I have no. If I do Silver Surfer, I'm going to do my favorite issue, which is Mephisto. I think that's Silver Surfer 1 or 2. Yeah, me too. I eat way too much junk food. We need more of the brown suit. Bronze Age, Conan, or Avengers. Again, put all the suggestions in the comments. If you put them, I never look at the chat once it's and once I take it back. Once I was looking up because we decided what I was going to do for its clobbering time. But so I had to go through the chat and find everything. So put it in the comments. You can put it in the comments now, the regular comment, but if you put it in the chat, it will be lost to antiquity. John, now I know why you talk bad about New York City so much. You grew up in Long Island. Yes, I grew up in Nassau County. I agree with you 100% on that, Lodge. Brown suit Wolverine was his classic look. Yep. Again, I didn't like it when it first came out, and then I grew to like it. But in my defense, when they changed Cyclops' costume to where you could see his hair, I didn't like it, and I still don't like it. To me, this is Cyclops. This to me is Cyclops. The fact that his hair is contained is part of his, I must be in control of everything. When your hair is out and it flips in the breeze, that's more of like a easy-go-lucky kind of demeanor, and that's not Cyclops. Cyclops is in this restraint dominatrix outfit, total restraint. You know what I mean? Suggestion: Squadron Supreme or Squadron Sinister comics. Yeah, we never liked Long Island guys. We called them fucking Long Island dicks. I know. And I'm trying to remember what the word. There was a word for people from Queens, and now I can't remember. Oh yeah, faggots. This was a Wolverine gazing at the impaled head of another werewolf. Okay, this is a werewolf gazing at the head of another werewolf from the artist Ron Spencer. Cool. Looks creepy. Just, I know. Logic, I don't get mad. The one time you thought I got mad, I wasn't mad at you either. I felt really, really bad when I was, because I felt like we were stealing from Oscar's time. You know what I mean? I felt really bad. Just jokes, Sean. Us New York guys can stick to unique accents. Yeah, Hollywood never gets us right. I agree. Any Spectre comic? I know that this is a Spectre comic I really like. There was one that I was planning to do. I gotta remember now. Mephisto, Silver Surfer 3. I already did 4 on Sunday Comics way back when it was just me and Lacey and Abrax watching. But if I do Silver Surfer, it's going to be number 3 for a bunch of reasons. What's the difference between the comments and the chat? The comments are just easy to watch. The chat, I have to play the video and scroll back and forth and everything, and I never know where it is, but the comments are just laid out like an outline. So anything that you want me to remember for later, comments is the best choice. The chat is just a conversation, and it scrolls by at the speed of a conversation, and it's hard to get that specific information out of the chat. And I'm not one of these clip show guys that go through every, because that's what my livelihood depends on, because I have no talent. I'm just having a conversation. So anything you want me to remember, any points you want to bring up, if you put it in the comment section, then I get a notification, and then I can go check on it. I don't like the yellow pouch things. Yeah, I don't like that. I did not like that. The Jim Lee. Monsters like fruit pies. John's Long Box quote of the year. Am I wrong? People make fun of me. People attack me. This week proved that, but nobody ever said I was wrong. Nobody ever said I'm wrong. Brian Bow, you are now a Long Box detractor. I know. It's all love. I know. I don't get mad. What am I going to get mad for? I got coffee. I got rhythm. I got music. I can't ask for anything more. Yeah, ice cold coffee. So now the real important issues. If you're going to drink coffee, it's going to be hot. If you drink an iced coffee, you have a problem. There's something wrong with you, and I hate you. John, keep the X-Men running. Issue 97 sucks, but it gets a lot better. Yeah. I kind of think that these issues are really important. This is like the forming of a legend here. This issue, we got the first appearance of Myra McTaggart, and already Claremont is hinting that she's more than meets the eye. She comes out with a gun, ready to fight. We're learning that that Storm, her parents were killed. She has claustrophobia issues. Wolverine is just a psychotic murderer. I mean, he went from literally trying to murder Nightcrawler to literally trying to murder the being that hurt Nightcrawler. Cyclops being I just love Cyclops at this point. Until I ended up living there for 7 years. I actually loved living in New Jersey. Slower lifestyle, nicer people. New York, yeah. I never lived in Jersey, but I got a lot of family members in Jersey that I go to visit often. Now, wait a minute. I drink my coffee cold with hot cocoa blended in the ice. It's like drinking caffeinated chocolate milk. Yeah, but it's not coffee. That's choco milk. Brian's got to go. He's tired of me making fun of fruit pies. Oh, so it's chat while you're live, comments when you're not live. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. That's exactly it. Chat. Even, yeah, I don't know. Can you comment in the comments while I'm live? Can you? I don't know. But, yeah. So when it's not live, put it in the comments below after the video. Thank you. I produced a lot of quotes this stream. Put all the quotes in the comment section. That'll be kind of funny. We'll make like a poster of all my quotes. I think Claremont did great stories in X-Men and the Fantastic Four, but no one talks about those. Yeah, I wasn't. I got to reread the Claremont Fantastic Four. I wasn't too crazy about it. The only thing I remember really liking with Claremont's Fantastic Four is one issue Reed Richards loses his poop and beats the crap out of somebody. And as he's fighting, he goes, I never really realized how much fun and how physical my powers are. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to explore this aspect of my abilities. I thought that was a pretty cool. That to the point where that's really the only thing that I remember. Isn't that just iced coffee? Yeah, iced coffee with chocolate milk in it or cocoa. I've been looking. I can't find the comments when you. Okay, so the comments will be when it's no longer live. Then okay. Not Myra McTaggart. It's pronounced Moira. Yes, you're absolutely right. Like in Schitt's Creek, Moira. I say Myra. It's funny because Myra is like Jewish sounding. Moira is Irish sounding. Yes, you're absolutely right. And oh my God, Rose Byrne. I think Rose Byrne's one of the most beautiful women on the planet. I was so happy that she played Moira because Moira was one of those characters that I kind of had a crush on. Feisty Irish girl with the bad haircut, but somehow it worked on her. Yeah, some good stuff. X-Men fighting the Bruin, the Sidor Hunters was cool. I agree. Reed Richards loses his poop. I'm trying not to curse. They weren't all different actually, though. Well, they weren't all new because this is an old character, and poor Banshee's not on the cover that much. Banshee already existed, so yeah, they weren't all new and they weren't all different. I love the name Mara. Yeah, yep, I agree. And it also means fate. So there you go. I'm all caught up. This is over 2.5 hours. I just realized I'm supposed to be on somebody else's channel. I gotta go, guys. I just realized I'm supposed to be on somebody else's channel. Bye.